It's one of those fun stock up, stock down shows. Dun, dun, dun. This is Tim's New York Giants Trade Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. We had the quarterbacks at the combine yesterday. You had the venerable Jackson Dart, Action Jackson, running around. You had some surprise and not such surprise performances. Now, listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the combine is the end all be all. There's plenty of Mike Mamulos out there that just don't have the chops, that have this wonderful combine, and there's these guys that have these terrible combines that turn out to be all pros and Pro Bowlers. But I am going to say this quarterback class. And it's nothing. If you go back to like 2022 when you had the Pickett and you had the Willis draft, and there was nothing else after that. It's so bad to the fact that Matt Corral, who was in that same draft, had to come in, was one of the arms in camp or whatever you want to call it. He was one of the arms that was throwing that day to the wide receivers, that he got the opportunity to throw some passes with the youngsters. I haven't seen that before. So he had an opportunity to throw the ball with the youngsters, and if you looked at that first group, of quarterbacks, oh God, it looked like a bunch of it literally looked like a bunch of third string JV guys, physically and just the way they threw. I mean, it was kind of depressing. What's up? I'm here for the realness. Well, you're very welcome. Welcome for the realness. Vinny G says, finally some real content. Thank you. Greg says, hit that like button. T-Brad says, good morning, people. Hit the like button. What quarterback should we start with? That's the question. Because, like, the first group was dog shit. Sorry. The second group was actually competent. And I find it interesting that they probably said, we did this at random. But I found it interesting that the second group was at 6 p.m. when there was probably more people watching, and I kind of think that was done intentionally. Should we start with everyone's favorite, with everyone's Jackson Dart, Action Jackson, with the flowing hair, looking like the NFL quarterback that he's not? I don't see it, guys. Even Kurt Warner, and I kept telling my wife when we were watching, he throws flat. There's nothing there. He contorts his body so much on the deep pass that it's like, is he trying? What is he trying to do? I mean, seriously, his ball. The combine, like your pro day, should be your ability to shine. Should be your ability to stand out because of the fact that it's just a 3 to 7 foot drop. You have no rush. It's a scripted play. You should shine at the combine. I'm not seeing it with Jackson Dart. I'm not seeing ball placement. I mean, yeah, people will say, well, his pass completion yardage was the longest at 10 point something in the entire college football. It's like 10 point something per completion. Well, Jaden Milroe was third. And we talk about accuracy issues with Jaden Milroe. So you can't have it both ways. But I just don't see anything with Jackson Dart. Maybe he's going to impress in the pro day. But even Kurt Warner says he throws flat. And I think Kurt Warner must have said that, shoot, I don't know how many times. Greg said it best. Jackson Dart severely overrated and doesn't have a naturally strong arm. He contorts his body in such a motion. There was the one on the go route that he literally stepped up, kind of twisted his whole body and lollipopped it to the point that I'm looking at it like, is that an NFL throw? So Jackson Dart's just not on my list. He's now not even close to being on my list. Like I said last year, this is a kid that probably, if he would have came out last year, wouldn't even have been drafted. And I'm still sticking to that. I don't think he would have gone big. Greg, everyone's out there. I don't think he would have gotten drafted whatsoever. last year. I think he was wise not to leave school last year because I literally don't see the hype. And I tried, and I sat there and I tried to watch it. Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon. Oh, dear Lord. Dylan Gabriel and Will Howard. They probably had some of the worst combines I have ever seen in reference to throwing the ball. Now, in quarterback perspective, that's what you're supposed to do is throw the ball. Dylan Gabriel had a little bit stronger arm than I thought. And I've watched this kid go back to UCF before the injury that then led him to transfer to Oregon. Is he an Oregon byproduct like kind of Bo Nix was? But Bo Nix fell into a system in Denver that kind of fit his skill set that he ran in Oregon. Dylan Gabriel doesn't have the size. He doesn't have the arm strength. I swear to God, the first group literally looked like, and I was looking at these kids, and that's what they looked like. They looked like third-string JV quarterbacks. That's what they looked like, physically. And I'm like, where, and I always love it because you see the guys today, and you compare the NBA players to the 90s and the 2000s. And the NBA players in the 2000s looked like they were Adonises. Today, we got little twigs. But Dylan Gabriel, no. Will Howard, I was expecting more from Will Howard. He even at one point told the reporter that he was excited to get here because he's going to put some ass into his throw. Well, his throws were ass. Even on that deep ball, he's got a lot of issues with his footwork. Dylan Gabriel was bad. Bad is not the word. Juan says, good morning, Tim. The Giants need to trade up for Cam Ward. I'm thinking they do need to trade up. We are going to get to Tyler Shuck. Tyler Shuck. Like Joe Shane, how is that Shuck? We're going to get to Tyler. Don't worry. We're going to get to Tyler in a minute. But Will Howard, man, I was expecting more on his deep ball. I was expecting more velocity. I was expecting more of a naturalness. His short passes to the outside were suspect at best. He just didn't seem to have this fluidity in reference to his throwing motion. And for such a big kid, I was expecting a lot more out of Will Howard. I was expecting some bombs. I was expecting to see some Josh Allen throws from years ago. Hell, from even going back to even Malik Willis when he was bombing it out. I wanted to see that. I wanted to see that type of velocity, that type of torque, that type of energy out of his throws, and I just didn't see it. Didn't see it. Quinn, there ain't seen like the mighty Quinn. Quinn was just, and I love because they had Quinn's college coach there, and he talked about Quinn and Arch Manning and this, and I looked at Quinn and I'm like, nope, don't see it. Another guy, accuracy issues. Another guy, I'm not seeing the snap on the throws. I'm not seeing the velocity. I'm not seeing the touch. It was like I said, that first group was, what's up, OG Knockout? What's going on? Hung Dave is in his house. Hey, Tim, Winston or Rodgers if it came down. I would go neither. I would run the Veer. If I had those choice of those two, I'm running the Veer. Let's get to Tyler Shuck out of Louisville. 2 broken collarbones. Second collarbone injury. Required surgery. Here's the thing with Tyler. You break the same bone repeatedly. Okay. It's like anything else in life. If something repeatedly breaks and you continue to fix it and it continues to break, there may be an issue. And the more it breaks, the less strength and continuity it has in potentially not. So you if you break the same thing twice, you're more likely going to break it a third time because you've already have this inability to keep the strength in that bone and wherever it is. So more than likely you are weakening that bone itself. And he broke his collarbone twice, and the second time required surgery. Tyler set up quick. he was probably the only quarterback that did a natural drop back. And he did it at game speed, which was nice, which was good to see, which was nice to see. He looked fluid. The problem was this. I think his throws were affected by him doing that because he did show the arm strength. He did show the ability to get the ball down the field. He showed some nice touch passes on those 15-yard outs. When you started getting down about 30 yards, 20, 30 yards, things became a little suspect, and it was because of his footwork. And like I said, you watched him. He truly jetted back like it was at game speed. So to his detriment, I kind of think that's what was causing some of the errant issues on his passes. But then the problem is this. If you do that and you can't do that in practice, how are you going to do that in a game? Deebo Samuels to the Skins. Hail to the Chiefs. Hail to the Redskins. Oh, that for a fifth rounder too. For a fifth rounder. But, I mean, would I take a flyer on Tyler? A flyer on Tyler. I would probably take a flyer on Tyler late in the 7th round, or I would just try to get him as an undrafted free agent. But like I said, this class is just so bad in reference to quarterbacks. When you have Matt Corral out there trying to show his wares after being drafted, was Matt Corral drafted? I hated Matt Corral coming out of school. And everyone kept telling me, Matt Corral is going to be the guy. Matt Corral is going to be the guy. I kept saying, no, he's not. I don't see it. And now he's at the combine throwing passes. Let's get into the top 4 guys in my mind. This one makes me cry. Number 4 makes me cry. And I don't want to cry. Riley Leonard. The Golden Doma. The product of Duke. I always thought Riley Leonard had a weak arm. I really did. I've always thought that because I didn't really watch him at Duke. I only really watched him at Notre Dame, and I kind of thought he had a weak arm. I didn't see anything special, and I watched a lot of Notre Dame games this season, but I didn't see anything special. I really didn't. Then you get to the combine. You got the hat on backwards. You're just having fun. You're doing the Ken Griffey Jr. with the hat on backwards, taking batting practice. He's got an NFL. Riley Leonard has an NFL arm. Shocked the shit out of me. And he's got some nice touch on those deep throws. He had great ball placement on the comeback routes. He showed that he was a polished professional in reference to his ability his ability to throw without being under duress. But if you watched his throwing motion, the people I was impressed with the most with their throwing motions was going to be Shuck, Leonard, and McCord. Those were the guys that impressed me the most with their throwing motions. And again, like I said, without the rush itself, Riley Leonard looked like an NFL quarterback. I mean, that was crazy to watch. And he uncorked some passes that I thought were better than Will Howard's. And Will Howard, to me, coming into this, was going to probably have the biggest arm in the draft. But I was pleasantly surprised with his accuracy on his short passes, on his deep passes, and on those intermediate passes. And this is a kid that's got like 4.6 speed. And if you watched, like I said, I don't know. I'm not taking Riley Leonard. don't get me wrong.
Gentlemen, which brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
I mean, I'm not doing that because I can't do anything that fucking crazy. But he actually looked pretty good. If we sign Rodgers, I'll quit on the Giants like they did on Daniel Jones. Thoughts on Kyle McCord? We're getting to Kyle McCord in a few seconds. The next quarterback I want to talk to that I was shocked the shit out of. Really, I mean, and you can see that this kid's put in work. Jalen Milroe. I was stunned by some of his passes. not on the deep balls. Because like Jackson Dart, he had the third longest completion or the third longest yardage per completion in the college football, which means shit. But I was stunned. You know he had the big arm. You knew that. You sat there and you looked at how he started throwing the intermediate passes, and you watched his throwing motion. It was very smooth. It was very fluid. When he went to throw the ball on the outside, he put it right where he needed to. He put the receivers in the position to catch the ball. Now, again, this is without being under duress. So when you're not under duress, I expect you to do all. He's trying with the big old super chat saying the NFC East is going to be a dogfight next year. Yeah, between Dallas, Washington, and Philly. We may win one game in the division again, not at home. It's all good though. It's all good though. But Jaden, he shocked the shit out of me. I know he's been working with quarterback coaches, and I know he's been working on on improving his motion and improving his accuracy. If you want to talk about someone who is physically probably the best quarterback athlete in this draft, it is Jalen Milroe. If someone held a gun to my head and said, "Tim, you could take Jalen Milroe or Jackson Dart, who would you take?" I would take Jalen Milroe, Jalen Milroe's brother, maybe Jalen Milroe's sister, maybe his mother, before I would take Jackson Dart, because he is a pure athlete. You know he's going to run. You know he's going to have that Lamar Jackson ability to run. But if he continues to work on his motion, he continues to work on his footwork, and he continues to improve his accuracy. Yeah, that's gonna go a long way. Yeah, James, I tell you, man, I was shocked. I was shocked by Milroe. I was shocked to shit by watching him throw. I really was. Just like I say, don't forget to be shocked, shit, hit that like button. I was stunned by his ability to complete the short pass. As Will Howard and Dylan Gabriel had problems with the 15-yard ball and the 20-yard ball, I was stunned that Jalen Milroe could complete those passes with accuracy and fluidity. The guy that shocked the hell out of me at number 2 is Brady Cook. I think outside of the top guy, I think Brady Cook had another. He's another guy that I thought only had average arm strength, but he threw some nicer deep passes with pure motion, better than Will Howard. Now I know some people say he has a limited ability to drive the ball consistently on the deep routes, and maybe that's true because you're only seeing a very small sample. But I think a lot of it has to do with his footwork. If you watched his footwork, Brady Cook did, it was a little choppy. Like I said, Shook had the best drop back. But of course, like I said, he was doing it at game speed, which I think hindered his accuracy. But you could see going back at times, Brady Cook was a little choppy. And he's another one of these times that the kid just doesn't look like an athlete. But he has a good motion. He has good touch. He has the speed. Like I said, if you watched him, he has this nice rhythm, and when he throws, looks like he's got great mechanics. If you're looking at a guy with that intermediate pass, that short pass, he had the accuracy. He was on full display yesterday, Brady Cook. He really was, and I was stunned by that because I didn't think that I was going to like Brady Cook when he came in whatsoever. Now, is this a Mike Mamula type combine for him? I don't know. Maybe because this draft is so poor. Hey, Douglas, what's up? Maybe this draft is so poor in reference to quarterbacks that we're just grabbing for anything. But like I said, he's the guy. He had a great combine. I like Trenton goes, I'm an Eagle fan, Greg. Yeah, Trenton is an Eagle fan. Charles Barkley says, to me, Dart's footwork needs help, but isn't that fixable? The problem with Dart isn't that his footwork needs help. The way he throws that deep ball, he contorts himself so much to generate torque and velocity that is Yeah, this community is great on this channel. This channel, if you want to go to a giant channel where the community's fucking awesome, because we got Eagle fans in here, we got Cowboy fans in here, we got all different kinds. This channel we allow open thought, but like I said, Dart just has this. He contorts himself, and it's almost like when you're a kid and you're trying to throw like a dodgeball, and you want to get that extra thing, you kind of contort yourself, you go back, and then you kind of thring your whole body through it. That's what he reminds me of when he throws a deep pass. And that's not going to bode well in MetLife. That's not going to bode well. My final standout, number one on my hit parade, it's got to be. And I hate to say it, but number one for me on the list at the combine. Hopefully, Big Don is not in the chat. Is got to be Kyle McCord. I have been trying to dislike Kyle McCord since day one. I have been trying my damnedest to dislike Kyle McCord. He showed the most accuracy. He showed the most ability. He showed the most natural throwing motion. He showed that he can hit the deep pass. He showed he can hit the short pass. He showed he had good ball placement. If I would probably think that he probably missed the least amount of throws than anyone else that was out yesterday. He seemed like he had nice command. He has nice footwork. His arm strength is there, and like I said, it's just I don't want to say it, but out of my top 9 out of that combine. And we'll put the ticker on the bottom here. We'll put the ticker on the bottom for who I thought were my top combine guys. So hold on, we'll even change it. We'll write. Hold on, we're doing this professionally today because someone told me that I'm not professional. Someone told me I'm not professional, and I need to be more professional. Here we go. Top QBs at combine. Hold on, we're going to be professional here today. Who wants to be professional? I do. If you want to be professional, let me know. Here we go. There we go. I'm going to go that. There we go. We're going to do that. There we go. But Kyle McCord shocked the shit out of me. Not really again. He's one of the, and I keep saying it before I did a video, Kyle McCord is like fungus. He literally is like freaking fungus. It's just growing on you. You saw what he did at Syracuse. You saw what he did. And like I said, if you're looking at a guy that probably had one of the best overall combines yesterday at the quarterback position, it's Kyle McCord. He's not going to be that blazing speed guy. He's going to be that natural pocket passer who has the fluidity and the understanding of the pocket itself, which I love. He has that understanding of, he's got that internal clock. And you watch him play, going back to when he was at Ohio State, he's got this internal clock. And we've talked about this before, and I hate saying it, he's got the quick release, and his mechanics, just Big Don, this hurts. He's got pristine mechanics. He's got this motion. And you watch him on those 15, 30-yard routes, he's fucking surgical. And the deep ball, he threw a better deep ball again than Will. He probably had outside of Jaden Milroe, which I expected, he probably had one of the best deep balls. Kyle McCord that was. And like I said, this is the combine though. This is against no pressure. This is against guys. So you take everything with a grain of salt. Same with the pro day. I always take everything with a grain of salt in the pro day. You look at the film just as much. But if you're looking at a short period, and some of these NFL head coaches and scouts, this is the first time they really got to talk to these guys and see these guys throw. And I think that at the end of the day, like I said, I would say my biggest two surprises were going to be Milroe and Riley Leonard. Like I said, I thought Riley Leonard had a rag arm. I really did. And I'm watching him throw the deep out. I'm watching him on the go route. I'm like, okay, he doesn't suck. He's got an NFL arm from the combine. Now, how that translates into a game, I can't tell you. But I'm going to tell you this. If you're looking for a guy that had nice footwork, got an arm, and I think helped himself at the combine, I think Kyle McCord didn't hurt himself. If we go through the list and I think about this, Kyle McCord did not hurt himself at the combine. I'm going to think that I'm trying to think. Brady Cook, I think, helped himself. I think Jalen Milroe really helped himself. And I think if he knocks it out on the pro day, he's probably going to leapfrog to the third best quarterback in this draft. I think Riley Leonard helped himself. I think Tyler Shook helped himself. I think Jackson Dart did not do himself any favors. I think Quinn didn't do himself any favors. Dylan Gabriel should just go now and fill out an application over at Home Depot. Same with Will Howard. Because I'm not seeing it because they don't have the USFL anymore, and they don't have the Arena League. They don't have the Arena League anymore. But like I said, I think those are the guys that probably helped himself the best. All right, what do we got here? Well, you're a smart man. Trent, yeah, we're talking about Trent again. The safety from South Carolina will be very good. We're talking quarterbacks right now, not safeties. Greg says hit the like button or sit on Joe Shane Spike. Davey said New York Giants have announced free shots and a joint to include with your season ticket package. And they probably still wouldn't sell out. Hey, Tim, what's up? Everything's good, Douglas. Big James Williams says, Greg and Juan, if the safety is going to be good, then Joe Shane will probably not draft him. Well, we're probably going to take a safety that's going to be just as good as should probably be a linebacker. Greg says if Cam or Sanders and everyone else, it needs to develop for a season or two. Yeah. Outside of Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, everyone I saw yesterday may need 2 to 3 years. Because, like I said, Kyle McCord to me is probably the most ready. I think Jaden Milroe has the most upside out of the group from yesterday to through. But I think everyone else is either going to be a third string guy or a practice squad guy. Or they're going to get turned into a Spencer Rattler and have to be forced into playing. Basically what happened with the Saints. So, but I do think that's the issue. Brady Cook has a quarterback name. Sign him up. He does have a Brady. You know, it would have been better. If I'm Brady Cook, I'm changing my name. I'm changing it to Brady Cookin. Or Brady's Cookin. I'm doing something like that. I love this community. We talked about how great the community is already. Kevin says these quarterbacks are not good. I learned that from Zach Wilson. Good point. Well, it says if the Giants can make the move right now, I believe they can get 7 to 8 wins.
Gentlemen, what brings me to my next point. No. Don't smoke crack.
Man down, man down. Man down. Look what happened, Juan. Man down, man down. Juan, you made the whole camera just literally go fucking crazy, man. What happened? Let's give them something to talk about. Oh, let's go down this way. Hold on, I gotta move the camera around. Oh, there's the other microphone. Why are you moving that way? Go this way. That's my second microphone. That's when I have guests in the studio. Well, then we're gonna move. Juan, you literally made the whole camera just go crazy. Because you said the Giants. I saw that if Aaron Rodgers comes to this team, the Giants. I love it because I keep hearing the Giants have better talent on this roster than people think. Well, I must not think a lot because I still think they got the 31st, 32nd roster. You know, you guys know ball, says Trenton. Thank you. Thank you to the whole group as well. Douglas said the stream is getting me through paperwork at work. Well, Douglas, we're going to try it. Grammar Chat GPT says, yep, but Walker might fall, an intriguing prospect. Do you allow Dallas Cowboy fans? Yeah, we actually do allow Dallas Cowboy fans. There's a couple Dallas Cowboy fans we got in here. What we got on Broadway? G Family and Tamara coming to you straight from Ocean City, Maryland. It's a little cold to be in Ocean City, Maryland today. Welcome all aboard. I love McCord, by the way. The McCord thing, like I said, the McCord thing literally threw me for a loop. And it has been. And I've been literally trying to dislike Kyle McCord. I really have. My list still goes Cam Ward, Sanders, and then I would go, and depending on the pro days, I might put Milroe over McCord only because Milroe may have a bigger upside. But I do think that if you need a quarterback to come in and play a little bit this year, you are literally going to have to go with a Kyle McCord. And that's what worries me about the Giants. The Giants are in panic mode. The Rams saved the Giants from themselves. Seriously. The Giants sat there and said, we're going to give you 2 years, $90 million. Now, remember, the caps just went up. We got like $68 million in cap space because we have no quarterback on the roster. But if you do that, and let's say you give him 50, but you give him with the signing bonus, and he's worth 30 this year against the cap, that number just dropped from 63 to 30 something because now you finally have a quarterback on the roster. I mean, you see where the problem is? 315, baby. L. Allen, future running back, Syracuse. Well, Don, luckily for you, you just missed the whole love fest for Kyle McCord on the combine. You're going to have to watch it. You're going to have to watch it on the replay. But we got to send a big thank you to the Rams. Damian Jackson says, Perky Rodgers coming back to New York in the big blue. I hate it, but it's the curse of being a Giant fan. I've said this before. The Giants right now, because of the issues that they're having, would rather be relevant than good. They would rather put an average team on the field, win 5-6 games, than they would just tearing the shit down, being bad, and building it the right way, like we should have did 4 years ago when we had 5-7 in a pretty good draft. In reference to the available talent, this draft outside of the top 10, and I'm not speaking out of turn because, right? I mean, NFL experts have said this. This is a draft full of maybe a couple all-pros. The rest of the guys are starters or roster fillers. It happens. It happens in the NFL. It happens in the NBA. We talked about it on the other stream. It just happens. And if Rodgers come here, I would hate it. You're going to bring in a 40-plus-year-old quarterback, and I just meant talk to Jet fans. You all the Jets did was do the Daniel Jones approach and come out and go get weapons. We need to get weapons. Well, they went out and got weapons for Aaron Rodgers, and it didn't fucking work because he's a 41-year-old quarterback on the downside of his career and probably should thinking about doing a podcast. I love Kyle McCord, by the way. Agreed. We need a running back. Like you said earlier, we do need a running back. Kyle McCord, Davis Webb's quarterback, number one. Good morning, Mr. Sanders. Good morning, Giants and gals. Davey said, told you that you are not. Who told you you're not professional? Maybe I should pay him a visit and teach him some manners. Oh, Davey, I can tell all the time I'm not professional. I have like media consulting companies always call me up wanting to sell me shit. And they're like, well, you know, if your show was more professional, you want to be professional, you can do this and you can do that. And I tell them, I'm not here to be professional. I'm here for the realness as well, my friends. Vinny G says, Tim, where do you think McCord goes in the draft? I think you're going to have the top 2 guys go, of course, in the top probably 10. On an average draft, on a regular draft with a good quarterback class, McCord probably goes 6th or 7th round. I could see if he has a good combine, I could see him going as high as 2. I could see him going as low as 7. It really just going to depend how teams are going to value the quarterback this year over what they currently have on the roster. Are these top 40 starters? Are they draftable? And if so, where? These 4 QBs are not. They may be potential starters a couple years down the road. Maybe. I mean, outside of Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. I think Kyle McCord could probably be a fill-in starter. I think Brady Cook's the same way. I think Jalen is going to need some time to gel and match rate. And I still think that with everyone else behind him. This is not a good quarterback press. Tell the professionals to do the work and make his version of a professional channel. I think they meant because of like the overlays and, you know, you see all these people that get like 10 people watching have all these overlays and things. And I'm like, oh, fuck it. My professionalism consists of this. I run downstairs. I look at my watch and say, shit, I'm fucking late again. I turn the camera on and then watch the countdown clock, and it's like, okay, I'm hit the button now. It says I got 6 seconds, and then there's a 30-second countdown. Maybe we should have Colt McCord against
King of the almost sack.
You gotta love that. I missed that sound effect. The combine shows coaches how good the prospects' fundamentals are. The combine really does. Like I said, Tyler Shuck, he was the fastest one to set up. He looked like he was running at game speed. I saw OGR said, hope the Giants pull a Washington Redskins, draft your quarterback. It's here and there, and then take my you know what the thing that I just thought of? You know what Kyle McCord reminds me of? Sam Howell. He kind of reminds me of Sam Howell now that I think about it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Kyle has a good arm, but his anticipation is lacking at this point. But like I said, I think with repetition that can be improved. What round do you say Kyle McCord? Like I said, I could see if he has a good combine and someone doesn't fall in love with Jalen Milroe, I could see him going in the latter half of the second round. But I probably wouldn't take him anywhere between 5 and 7. Fabian, Big Tim, there's a lot of talk about Jackson Dart. Who? The guy that I literally watched take the ball, contort himself like this, and then like throw it around his whole body and still come up short. That guy? Yeah, we should run out and get him right now. And we lacked ball placement at certain times on his passes. I'm like, this is what we have to hope we get. OGR Sports. This is all informational because I haven't watched a single second of the combine. I typically watch most of it. I only watch the quarterbacks. I really do. I only watch the quarterbacks. I think that's I like. Yeah. Our analysts saying Sanders is late round. Here's the thing about Shedeur Sanders, and I keep seeing that with Fabian. I keep seeing that with him saying that Shedeur Sanders is not the second best quarterback in the draft. He might be the third. He might be a later round. They're fucking idiots. Yeah, he had some talent, Shedeur, over in Colorado. Yeah, he did. Is it outside Travis Hunter? Was it the best talent in the world? No. He had a terrible offensive line. The kid got the shit kicked out of him every week. There is something about Shedeur Sanders. There is. You know, it's funny. I love it because if you looked at the combine when the two of them were together, Cam Ward looks like he's lost weight, which I think Cam Ward had to do. But Shedeur Sanders looks like he's gained weight, which is what Sanders had to do. I'm going to be extremely interested in these two guys' pro day because I think that's really where it's going to lay out. Don wasn't even here to hear you talk about his boy Kyle. I know, man. I try. Like I said, it hurt. I'm hurt. I had to talk nicely about Kyle McCord again. I'm a fan of Milroe. I would not be mad if we drafted him, but Cam and Sanders need to be picked if they are there. You're going to do something stupid as the Giants. Because like I said, the Rams saved the Giants from themselves. And on the stream the other day, I mentioned, and in the video the other day, I mentioned that Matthew Stafford's not coming here. Because of the fact that if you actually go listen to LA media, if you go read the LA papers and everything else, they all said that they were going to negotiate a deal and figure it out because they thought he was underpaid at 30 and McVay still wanted to win. But the Giants or some other team were going to have to bowl them over with an offer and then come up big. Now the Giants dropping allegedly almost going to drop $90 million on this guy for 2 years. We talked about when Daniel Jones signed the contract. I've always talked about that that put us back 5 years. If we would have did this, it would have dropped us back another 5 years. Because we are not one player away. We are not a Matthew Stafford away from being good. We're a Matthew Stafford away from being relevant until the first snap of the season. Then it all goes out the fucking window because you know the guy's going to get wrecked. You're going to bring a dome quarterback who's never played outside of a dome and put him in New York and MetLife against a suspect offensive line, one wide receiver, Wan'Dale 2 yards in a cloud of dust, and maybe a running back, if you don't draft one this year, and you think he's going to perform and not got the bejesus kicked out of him, No bridge quarterback. I still say let the rookie play. We already got to the Perky Rodgers. Mr. Rodgers is perky. I like that. Let's see here. My goat, OGR. How you doing, my man? OGR's doing great. I'm calling it. What are you calling right now? The camera on the same thing as Rodgers is on. You know what I love? That was the thing when the camera fell over. That would literally have been Aaron Rodgers. When the camera fell over and everything went to shit, that's Aaron Rodgers. That's Matthew Stafford as a New York Football Giant. As me, what's up? So Tommy Cutlass is a starting quarterback next year. Is that where we are at right now? If you want to look at this, yeah. Well, right now, Tommy DeVito is the only quarterback on the roster. I don't think he's going to be the starting quarterback. But I do think he's probably going to go into camp, which should scare the bejesus out of anyone. Because he is not, we've said this before, Tommy DeVito is not an NFL quarterback. In our mind, he's an NFL soundbite.
Jersey. Sure. Tommy.
Wait for the beat to drop.
That's what Jersey Shore Tommy is. Big Don in his house. Davey says, Tim, when your team is that bad, you need one good punter, any good prospects. We got the Scottish hammer. We're all good here. Giants max. Damien says, Giants get 6 wins max. Right now, yeah. Tim is down. It was man down. I don't want to say anything right now, but it was man down for those that missed it. The whole camera went crazy. Jenkins and Tracy would be crazy. I don't know what Tyrone Tracy is yet. And I keep telling you this. The league has film on the guy now. They know his tendencies. They know how he likes to carry the ball. He knows where he likes to go. Let's see what happens next year. Is it a New Orleans Darkwa? That's what I keep saying. We love you, Rams. We do. I do love the Rams. Strider says, thank God we didn't get Matthew Stafford. Would die here. Johnny Rico. Well, you want to live forever? Greatest movie ever. I was just watching Starship Troopers. Giants are going to move back into the first round. Take McCord and ends up with the top 2 pick next year. And Josh Rosen him. No, I hope not. How can you pull it up with, how can you pull up to watch and chat and not hit the like for Tim? Come on up, Broadway. Says hit the motherfucking like. Let's see. OG says, man, we wish the Giants were close to being average. Yeah, it's funny because I just mentioned that Aaron Rodgers should just get a podcast. Tim Rodgers should be your co-host. Then we'd be professional. Get me the running back. Big Pat needs some of those OBB wisdom. Why? What did Big Pat say now? Usually it's something stupid. Knowing the Giants are going Jackson Dart. You know they are. Someone's texting me. Hold on, I'm going to take this text. All right, there we go. This draft is all about defense and running backs. There really are some fast wide receivers in the mix, too. The wide receivers actually look pretty good. The draft is all about defense. I already got to that one. C. Sanders says the only thing Rodgers has to do next is to be retired and be unretired like Brett Favre. Oh. It's Indian motorcycles. That's what the shirt is, James. Knowing the Giants, they're staying strong at 3 and takes in Jackson Dart. To me, it is the typical Giant way. It literally would be the typical Giant way. I'm gonna put the link in the chat here because I want to see if James or who's out there so we can talk quarterback for a minute here, or maybe OGR. Where was out there? Let's talk quarterbacks because I think that's where this whole this is literally where this whole season lies because you don't have a quarterback. When is the last time the New York Giants went into a season with no quarterback? You go back 2004, you say, okay, well, we have, 2004, we still had Eli Manning and Kurt Warner. You know, you go back and you think about it. I mean, let's think about this for a second here. Maybe you go back to, if you're going to go back, you go back to the likes of 79. Because 79, the year prior to that, you only had Pisarcik and Randy Dean. And then in 79, at least you had you took Phil Simms. So this is probably one of the worst case quarterback scenarios the Giants have been in since the Phil Simms, Randy Dean, Joe Pisarcik era in 1979. Yes, I am old. I was a kid though. I wasn't like 30 in 79. Okay, I was a youngster. But yeah, I just know Giant history. I read Giant history, but I think that's the worst case scenario that we're at. Imagine if the Giants gave as much as a chance to Davis Webb as Daniel Jones. Fun fact: Davis Webb's the only Giant quarterback to throw for 2 touchdown passes as Kenny G. You're right. Big Pat needs some things, and that's only Jesus, Allah, Abraham, and so can provide. Why would I want Big Pat now? Our first year with Joe Shane and Brian came with 9 wins. Second year came with 6. Third year came with 3. So that means we will go 0 wins next year. So we're going to pull a Detroit line. We're going to go 0 wins. And honestly, Blackbird, you know this, and I'll tell you, that first season, you have to break it down this way. You got to break it down 2-5. You got to break it down 7-2, 2-5-1. And then 6 wins, and then 3 wins. Let's get to Big Don real quick because I see him at the supermarket.
Yeah, I would like to. I'd like a. We had a price check on tampons on aisle 6. Tampon price check, 6, please.
Hopefully you have it on speakerphone.
No, sorry. No, not at all. Never. Not with you. Never.
Tell me about Kyle McCord, man. Did you watch any of Kyle McCord's highlights, or did you watch any of his combine?
I didn't watch the combine. I'm not a fan of quarterbacks in combines because not real world situations technically.
But
what am I hearing? Oh,
that's you.
Bruh, all right, we're good now. I'm so tired.
You're hearing yourself.
I was like, what is that sound? All right, Tim, here's the thing. I've seen him play all season, right? I watch, I'm gonna watch about Orange. I'm gonna watch the McCord man.
All the way back
and I also, and you know what's funny about the Ohio State thing? We all know the whole big thing about the whole thing was he couldn't win the big game. He had all that talent. He's a crybaby. He doesn't like competition. Blah 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 blah. Okay, whatever. Comes to Syracuse, basically gets told, look, we're running the offense through you. We've got a shanky offensive line. We basically have brand new wide receivers for you. You have a tight end that might go in the top 3 rounds, and you have a running back that might go in the top 4 rounds. And McCord said, you know what? I'll do it. He plays. Oh my gosh, I'm running to my car. This wind is killing me.
Right now, running the 40. Go, Don. Okay. I just clocked Don at the 40 on 7.2.
Okay, I'm into my car now. It should be quiet.
We got 7.2 of Don on that 40-yard dash. Do you want to run it a second time?
I'll put my hamstring just running over here, so no. I'm not young like I used to be, Tim.
Listen, I can't drive the 40.
No, but you sure enough can get enough tackles in a 40-yard range. So we still need you. You still got 2 years eligibility. Remember that.
Don and I figured it out the other day. I think it was on the stream or maybe we were texting that I still have 2 years of college eligibility. So I'm transfer portal
because of JUCO. We're talking about it. I was like, JUCO rules they no longer count those years. So yeah, Tim,
So I got 2 years left.
You gonna go to Foreman, right?
I'm gonna go get my liberal arts degree because we know Jackson Dart ripped apart Furman, the #1 liberal arts college in the South. I was seeing either do Dead Sea Scrolls or interpretive dance is what I was thinking.
Wait, is that what Matt Leinart did ballroom dancing his senior year?
Ballroom dancing.
Hey, any way to stay in school for an extra year, man. I mean, it worked out for him.
Hey, listen, in my 3rd year in college, you had to take a physical education course. I literally took volleyball.
Ooh. That sounds fun.
And I remember it because the coach was like, "Are you actually going to go?" I'm like, "No, it's fine." That basket weaving was full. I had to go to volleyball.
You mean underwater basket weaving?
And no.
Yeah.
So tell me about McCord, man. Give me something to give Giants, because the Giants will do something stupid by either taking him or Dart.
Bro, I already heard about the highlights on Dart and what he did during the combine. Oh, did you see that miraculous throw? And I'm like, there's no weather. I said, there's no duress. There's no corners. You should pretty much darn near always be perfect when it comes to a combine throwing session.
Oh, that's what I said. The combine to me more is about your accuracy under no duress, and your throwing motion itself, the way you set your feet. The way, like I said, Tyler Shook. Tyler Shook went back like he was all shook up. Yeah, I mean, he went back at game speed, which I think hurt his accuracy. But like I said, I didn't see that with Jackson Dart. I saw a guy that tried to get so much torque under that deep ball, they literally contorted himself to get the throw off, and still came up short.
Well, you heard about, was it Dart? I believe it's Dart. Dart got to the combine early. It was like throwing bombs in the garage at nighttime.
That was Will
and
Howard.
Scouts. Oh, that was Will Howard. Okay. How do you feel about Will Howard? Like, you have all these first round talent around you. I don't know how to assess that.
Will Howard was 9th on my list of 10. 9, I should say. On my list of 9, he was 9.
Oh, that tells me everything.
Combines I have seen in a long time. And I love it because the crowd went crazy, because every time Will Howard came on, because I guess they were in Ohio, where fuck the combine was on, I remember. So they went crazy every time he went up there. But I watched him throw it. I'm like, looks like the second half of the bowl game.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah, he transferred from Kansas State.
Someplace like that, yeah.
Yeah.
They're growing big in Kansas, like they're growing big in Texas.
Put it. You're darn right. But put it this way, Tim. If the Giants are even looking at McCord throws in anticipation. He has to. He really had to this year, because once again, you're the brand new team. Number one, you got receivers you're really not familiar with. Number two, so at this point, at the playbook, you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna throw where you're supposed to be, and there was a lot of success with that. But once again, like any quarterback who gets happy feet, because we had a very crappy offensive line, McCord made that offensive line look better than it really was. I can honestly say that from a passing standpoint. Run blocking, we're decent. That's why we need to get LeKent Allen. But I digress. Back to McCoy.
Hold on. I got it to Fab. Did you see the speed of the tight end from Georgia? Actually, I did not.
Wait, do we have enough? I thought we already had the greatest tight end from Penn State that we got to steal in the 4th round. Is it 4th round? Yeah, 4th round.
Well, don't forget, we also have the Adonis of tight ends.
You mean the guy we had pass blocking and you didn't even know he was on the field? You mean that guy?
Yeah, that guy. That guy. But
don't worry, Tim. He has all that muscle. He gained all that muscle, and he's gonna throw guys around. He got thrown around, so I'm confused.
Let's just stay on track with Kyle McCord here, because I want to get to. I got to get to a lot of people got here.
Yeah. So if we want guy anticipation, a guy who's gonna be, what's the word? High IQ quarterback. We want a guy who's gonna not even be a bridge, but can be at least a long-standing backup that you're not gonna have to worry about, because we have plenty of film on this guy in college at this point. He's played at Ohio State, he played the big games. He's at Syracuse, where he literally had to lead a team because he was the face. Playbook was for him, but he's played outside. He was in the Big Ten, so we know he can play in cold weather.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I'm a little bit of a homer about that. Talking about this much too.
A little bit of a Kyle McCord homer, a little bit. Yes, I'm not
going to
take that away from you. Yes, you are.
But he can manipulate the pocket. Something that's he will audible. Man, why? It's so funny. We talk about audibles now, where everybody's like, "This is the greatest thing ever."
You and I talk about this during some of the Syracuse games, that I would even text you and said, "The motherfucker just audibled." We're not allowed to do that in New York. We're not allowed to do that with the Giants. You are not allowed to call an audible.
No, freaking Jalen Hurts does it all the time. We're digressing again. Sorry, didn't mean to.
Last time Jalen Hurts audible, he pitched out to Saquon Barkley and he went 76 yards in the snow. But we're not going to talk about that.
No, we're not. But I would go with McCord. I mean, especially for a late round pick at this point, he's
how late though? Late.
Yeah, fifth.
Now,
I'll
you're
do
a
fifth.
Syracuse fan. How late would you take McCord? Or what round
Fifth.
would you take Kyle McCord in?
Fifth, unless we got some weird trade where we get like a late fourth or fifth, because at the end of the day, we got so many holes that even if when we do pick up a quarterback in the later rounds, it's at this point you're throwing up a Hail Mary prayer unless we do what Washington and Green Bay does and pick up not Green Bay, Washington was doing and pick up 2 quarterbacks in the draft. Then it's really going to be interesting.
So you're saying we have more holes than the Titanic?
Oh, we got more holes than SpongeBob SquarePants. Forget that.
All right, now we're not gonna have a Squidward comment. Let me drop y'all big dogs. I got another guest who's gonna drop on. Appreciate you always coming on. I'll text you later, my brother.
Yes, sir. Take it easy.
Stay safe, my friend. Have yourself an easy day. Oh, all right. I got another. Let's give them something to talk about. You know it's gonna go bad. How about the let's go next? The OG shot. That game nearly sent me into a cardiac arrest. Because when they hit the 3 and then Memphis comes back and then OG hits that shot and then there's still time on the clock, I was like, the old Knicks were fun. It's like we're OG Anunoby who goes from a 40-point game then goes 8 weeks with only putting up 8, then hits the big 3 at the end. I mean, come on.
He's a very weird player. Like a very weird. I've never seen a Rubik's Cube of just a mystery of a player, because like you said, there's times where he looks great defensively. There's times he looks great offensively, but then he just has weeks where it's like even in the game he hit the 3, the Memphis game, he only had like 15 points. Like, he wasn't really, it wasn't like he was doing, but he came through in the clutch. The Knicks have just had the last week, I have to say, it's such a roller coaster, such a weird,
you had the bad losses against Cleveland and
back to back.
I mean, but I love this one from Fabian. The Giants have more holes than my 10-year-old boxers. That's a lot of holes.
You should probably get rid of those boxers, Fabian.
I was gonna say, Fabian,
man to man,
player to player, to pimp. You might want to get rid of the boxers.
Pimp to pimp. Right.
So, did you watch any of the combine?
Of course, I did. I was curious to see how my boy Milroe would look. I had Will Howard was in it. I was just curious to see how he was gonna look. So yeah, I always look at the running backs, the quarterbacks, and I just breeze through the defensive linemen every combine. I try to anyway.
And what did you think? Give me. Like I said, I thought Milroe. I thought Milroe really put on a display in regards to improving from what he was earlier in the year. I think his accuracy looked good. He had a nice compact throwing motion. He had some nice footwork. The touch on the short passes kind of surprised me a little bit. We all know he's an athlete, and you all know he has an arm. But like I said, outside of Brady Cook, I think Milroe was one of the biggest surprises throwing at the combine.
Yeah, no, he the combine, for certain guys like Sanders, Ward, or if you're an Andrew Luck type, or even a Trevor Lawrence type, it's like you don't have to throw at the combine like you used to. You throw at your pro day. Most people like that, we know what Sanders and Ward are for the most part. We'll see them at their pro day, but for the combine, people like Riley Leonard, like McCord, like my boy Milroe, this is their chance to, up their stock. And like, Big Zach said, a chance to show your fundamentals, just to show how you look where, there's a little bit of competition going on. There's other people there. You're not at your school throwing, just to your wide receivers. But to everything you said, I thought everything you said earlier was pretty right on point. I think Milroe definitely boosted his stock. I think, and when we first talked about this months ago, I had him as the third best quarterback
You did.
at like in the beginning of the college season. Then, he hit like a rough patch and he kind of tailed off. But I think his performance at the combine reminded people of his raw talent. He looks like a Cordell Stewart type to me, where he definitely needs to work on his throwing, but he has raw talent and ability, like you were saying. McCord as
what?
go ahead.
Going back to Cordell Stewart in Colorado, I still remember he threw a 76-yard bomb in college. And I still remember that pass because it was all air and hit the guy in stride. And the ball,
I remember.
The ball literally went like 70 yards in the air.
Yeah.
I remember watching that play to this day going, geez, that is, and he did that outside in Colorado. And everyone knows
yes.
It's a little different in Colorado.
Yes. No, and that was before social media, kids, where if he did that nowadays, that's all you would have heard about for like a week. You would have seen it posted everywhere, much like the Zach Wilson combine pass from a few years ago that got him drafted.
Yeah, in the corner.
Yeah, But I think everything you said, especially what you were saying about, like, I'm not a big Riley Leonard guy, but facts over opinions and feelings, he looked good. He looked good. His footwork, he seemed comfortable. That was another thing with Milroe. Like, he just seemed like, okay, I'm here. Yeah, I'm poised. Seemed poised. Leonard looked poised. McCord looked poised. All the guys you mentioned that really upped their stock, they really did. Leonard looked good. Again, I'm not a big Leonard guy.
I was
not a big Notre Dame guy, but he looked good. His fundamentals look good. Mechanics look good.
Were you surprised about his arm strength? Because he never really threw the ball deep at Notre Dame, and he was at Duke before that. So, but I was literally surprised that I thought Will Howard was going to have the biggest arm, but I wasn't impressed with any of a lot of the deep throws from Will Howard. I think, though, that Riley Leonard had one of the most purest motions on the deep pass at the combine than at most of the guys that we watch, and I was shocked by that he had that kind of arm. I thought he had a below average arm.
Yeah, I'll throw him. As I get older, I try to be fair. I'll throw Riley a little pass here, where being at Duke and even the game plan at Notre Dame, they weren't an air it out offense.
No.
He didn't have the receivers that a Will Howard had or even a Milroe had. So there's going to be a lot of games where he's not going to be asked to chuck it down the field, 30, 40 yards down the field. It's more of a precise offense, run the ball, defense, at the schools, programs he's been in. Oh, you don't hear me? You lost me?
No, I hear you now.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You're back now.
I think based off the schools he was at, he was just doing what he was asked to do. But it definitely was a surprise to see, again, that's what the combine is for. When you have those straight down routes, that have every quarterback throw, we look forward to that because we want to see, and again, this is no defense, no pads, but can you chuck it down the field?
And how do you look doing it? I love this one. As he says, James' wife sent him to the closet.
It's funny. I'm in her closet, as you could tell. It's my future wife loves housewives. What's the irony in that? And she loves the walk-in closet. And yes, you can't really tell, but if I showed you this, there's some of my stuff in here, like in the corner here.
I was going to say
the corner,
like a little corner, and there's James. And talking about the combine, the reason I actually put more stock in the combine than I do the pro day, because the pro day is rehearsed for weeks. People think they just go out there and run the pro day. We're gonna just no. That is choreographed. That is scripted for weeks. And it's usually scripted to what they want to showcase the talent thereof, or maybe if someone has a deficiency, they want to show, no, that guy doesn't have this deficiency, and they'll work on it for weeks. The combine, you're basically just going out there, and if you watch, they set up the cones, and then they tell everyone, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And you also have to be careful because when you watch the combine, some of the throws at the combine are not for the quarterback. Those throws are for the wide receiver. So some people are like, well, that throw, and I was watching it when people were doing the live thing on Twitter. They're like, well, that throw was way off. Well, that wasn't for the quarterback. That was that one drill was to go up for the wide receiver to go up and get the ball. That's why the ball was thrown high into the corner. So
yes.
I think people need to kind of differentiate at times the difference between the combine and the pro day and exactly what to do with the combine. To me, the combine is more organic because you find out right then and there, this is what you're doing. This is how we're doing it.
Well, that's why we, and Trenton Wright, shout out to him, Eagles fan in here showing you some love, but that's why we always praise our cult leader, because you always point things out that even in 2025, and even though we all have these smartphones, people still need understanding. And it's fine. I'm glad that you're here to give it. We try to chip in. But yes, the combine is the equivalent on like going on a blind date. And the pro day is like the equivalent on going on a date where you get a chance to set everything up the way you want at your favorite restaurant, talk to the cook, wait for a good day, and have everything more to your specific.
You went on her Instagram page or Twitter page or Facebook.
Or you talk to her friends, her church, or even, what is she like? What does she does?
You set everything up and then you knock it out of the park. And
exactly.
It's a little. I like this one from David. Tommy DeVito and his mom has that mom that can cook. Who knows? Maybe Dylan Gabriel can gain some weight and get some magic on season 1. Dylan Gabriel.
Yep. Hold on, one thing. Let me say this before, because I said it in the comment. It was making me laugh. Maybe it's just I'm getting old, and I feel my Red Fox George Carlin coming out more as I get older. And I'm watching Dylan Gabriel. First of all, I don't like pretty boys. And him and Jackson Dart, the minute I saw them walk up there, I'm like, oh, they care more about their look than the throw. But Dylan Gabriel, he was doing it, and he's going back doing the fake handoff, and then he's going to throw. And I'm like, buddy, you might want to just take the ball and concentrate on making the throw. Never mind the whole doing the fake handoff. Like, look, guys, look, coach, I'm doing the fake handoff. Nobody cares about that right now. Just make the throw.
They actually are supposed to do that. On that one drill, they're supposed to do that.
But he was doing it on like every pass.
He did it on drills that he wasn't supposed to do.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Like, I get it, and you're right. But he was doing it like all the time to the point where I'm like, you're going to miss that receiver. You're going to throw it late because you're sitting up here doing this instead of just letting the ball go.
Well, that was like Tyler Shuck, and I still don't understand how you spell Shuck that way. Same way I don't understand how you spell Joe Shane that way. But he set up so quickly. He was running it at game speed when and I think that was to his detriment because of the fact that he didn't get his feet. His footwork seemed a little off. He wasn't setting his feet, and I think that actually hurt the accuracy on a lot of his throws. And I was impressed that he did it, but then I was confused why he was doing it.
Yeah, there's definitely some things. I got to say, as an Ohio State guy, I got to be honest. I'm all for striking while the iron is hot. And, when you have your time here or your window is short, and I get it, you just won the national championship and you look good and you scored all these points and all that. But I really thought Will Howard could use another year in college.
The way I think Will Howard had one of the worst combines in reference to the quarterback position, throwing. I don't think he did much else. I mean,
he needed another year. Honestly,
Will Howard needs another year, maybe another 2 years, because his intermediate passes were terrible at times. His touch ball was just, and like I said, he told a reporter that he was waiting for the throw, especially the deep go routes, because he was going to put some ass into his throw. And I was watching his deep ball, and like, dude, you need to go find some ass because those throws were ass. I was literally waiting for this guy to put something up with his arm, but nothing.
You got to be careful how you phrase things, kids, because that little quote is going to come back to haunt him. I try to put some ass in it.
Yeah,
try to put some ass in it.
And you know it's gonna haunt. You know it's gonna haunt. Rachel, I love this comment. Of course, Rachel says loves the shirt.
Yes, she does.
But that's Indian motorcycle. I'm just not a
No, I
racist.
know. But if she won
I'm not
again,
racist.
my other half,
With
I
an
have
Indian
to.
on the show.
I had to shout her out her comment, as my other half. So I know what it was from.
Let's run through some of these comments while I got James. But computer just like I got a new monitor coming in tomorrow, I think, because this monitor keeps cutting out on me. I can't see anything, man. It's like when the camera fell over.
That was hilarious.
That was
hilarious. Who was it? Juan left that said, "We're gonna win 8 games next year." And the camera said, "Oh hell no."
And the camera pulled an Aaron Rodgers on the 4th play of his Jet career. Oh.
Camera said 7-8 games. Oh, heart attack.
7-8 games. It literally was man down. All right, let's just go through some of these real quickly. For my thing is, Big Blue Forever says, "What's up with authentic calling you out and being stupid?" I don't remember what he's calling me out now for being stupid.
I didn't see him call you stupid recently.
He posted the thing again about Joe Milton, and you were on it.
You did?
You were on it when I said that that Joe Milton, has all the physical traits and talents to be an NFL quarterback, and of course he goes out and wins the game. But but what do I? And then he was making fun of me because I posted the I was trying to help him out, so I posted my entire Joe Milton video, and he took context where I said that he could make all the throws on Sunday, but being that he was a 3rd-string high school quarterback, he may not have understood that means that you have the arm strength to make the throws. It doesn't mean you could actually physically do it, but it does mean you physically can do it. Just doesn't mean you will do it, but it means you have the physicality to do it. So,
right.
Some people are just locked on stupid. Let's see here. Sadly, don't think we're getting either of the top 2 quarterbacks thanks to the Colts. I don't think we are either. Strider says, us Giant fans are doing a lot of wishing. We can wish one hand and crap out the other hand. First wishes need to fill. The first with Burgess Meredith, of course, from that scene. Rocky, he's going to eat lightning. He's going to crap thunder. What is your, this is a good question from Paul James. What is your dream scenario for the draft?
That all the experts and pundits keep talking about Sanders the way he will, because I do believe Cam Ward will be the first quarterback taken, either by Cleveland or Tennessee. I do believe that, but I also believe that both of them are not taking quarterbacks. I've just believed this for a long time. I still have ties in Ohio. I keep track of certain things in Ohio, Cleveland. I'm paying attention to that situation very carefully. There is a chance. Don't get me twisted. There is a chance, but I just don't believe both of those teams are going to take quarterbacks. And I think Sanders is going to be the guy that's going to fall to us at 3. So my dream scenario would be to take the quarterback. Don't do something stupid, like not take the quarterback that's sitting right there. Then, bringing in a guy like Rodgers or whatever I'd be more at ease with, because at least it's like, okay, we're not depending on him and DeVito. But other than getting the quarterback, we have to address the running back position. This is a running back heavy draft. We just have to get the right one. Hopefully our GM will do his due diligence. And honestly, we need to get a wide receiver. We actually have to get some weapons here. I know we need a cornerback as well. So I would say quarterback, I'll just say 5 positions we need to address, not in any order, except quarterback has to be number 1. Except quarterback has to be number 1 because we have 3. We didn't do all this losing. Let me just say this real quick. Do you guys realize that Daboll has lost more games than who's our guy from Patriots? I can't even remember. Oh, Joe Judge. Joe Judge actually won 4 games in a season. Daboll only won 3, and then he won a game he wasn't even supposed to. I just want to put that in perspective.
And it's putting the Jackson Dart into perspective as well. Jackson Dart actually praised Joe Judge.
Excuse me?
He praised Joe Judge. I believe Joe Judge is on the staff at.
Oh my God! Are you serious? At Ole Miss?
Yeah, I believe he praised him. I want to drop someone in because I represent Queens. He was straight out of Brooklyn. Oh, we got the T-Brad coming in a lot because the group hasn't been together in a while. The
gang's all here, man.
The trio.
We're back. T-Brad, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, nothing much, man. Nothing much. It's sad days in Giants land, and
I'm just here for the fuckery. I'm here for the fuckery. I know we're gonna do some shit that's gonna piss me off, but I have to look at it. Each step gets us closer to getting Joe Shane up out of there. That's how I feel. I didn't even watch the combine, and I'm a combine guy. I've watched college. I'm just curious to see who wins this, who does that, and how certain people look. I had zero interest in watching because tried and true, whoever I like, the Giants tend to not like. So.
Yeah, well, you know what you should be doing though? You should be hitting the like when you're in the chat. Paul had a great question. I asked James the same question. What is your dream scenario for the Giants draft?
Wow.
I know this is actually a really good question. I'm sitting here thinking about it right now myself. That's why I'm going to you.
A lot of it depends on what we do in free agency, obviously, but based on how we are built now, I would say the best thing that could happen, and again, you gave me free reign. Cam Ward actually falls to 3.
Okay.
Somebody likes Sanders better. Somebody likes Travis, and Cam Ward falls to us right there. Then we come back in the second round, and I don't think we got a lot of crazy good wide receivers in the second round this year. It's more hit or miss, but I think we go and either get a corner or we get a defensive tackle or possibly a good offensive lineman.
Or a good linebacker.
Then,
or a good safety.
oh yeah, exactly. There's so many places.
Or a good defensive end.
Yeah.
Running back.
By the third round, it has to be running back. I agree with James there. It has to be running back because we don't know what we got with Tracy. Just what you said earlier, Tim. We don't know what this kid is doing. Like when you put up good numbers on a shitty team, you have to take it with a grain of salt. It's like, oh damn, you were here too? Forgot we were too busy sacking your quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So,
people, does
we
anyone
forgot all
remember,
about you, buddy. Little buddy, we'll get you next year.
Anyone remembers New Orleans Darkwa?
Yeah. Came out hot and then just what
100
happened?
plus yards, 4-something yards a carry. Then he not only disappeared off the Giants, he disappeared out of the NFL.
Yeah.
So,
he was gone.
I think if we can get, and it's so many, like one of the running backs from Ohio State, Mulligan's from Michigan. There's so many, the guy from Arizona State. There's so many very talented running backs. It's probably like the deepest far as talent of running backs in a while. So why not get one? That way we got a 1-2 punch. Because most of the teams that do, everybody doesn't have a Saquon Barkley. You know what I'm saying? So everybody doesn't have a Saquon Barkley. So most of the other teams that are doing it are doing with like a nice 1-2 punch.
You should get Wonka just for that, but I don't have the energy to do it. Watch this dream scenario. Ready for this? Titans stay with Will Levis. Pick generational talent in Travis Hunter. Myles Garrett gets traded to Philadelphia for a first rounder and something else. Abdul Carter goes to Cleveland. You got both Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders sitting right there.
That's too good to be true. That almost means like we lost the Colts game.
But no, Paul asked for the dream scenario. And
that's true.
It took me a minute to think about it, but that's because Blackbird summed this up best because Joe Shane did say this. The quarterback is the most important position.
Oh, now it's the most important position.
He literally did say that at his combine interview.
He did.
This is the year for Daniel.
Oh my goodness gracious! Let's see here. I want to try to get to this. Tim, would you take a chance on Jimmy Garoppolo to play some quarterback? Where is the Garoppolo right now? I know he's on one team, or is he still on a team?
He's probably under Cornstar somewhere.
I didn't know if he was under. I didn't know if he was still there. Would you think about if the Raiders moved on from him, Gardner Minshew, as a bridge? Because everyone
talks about for the right price. Yeah, he's somebody who could do a little teaching.
Well, he would give us $11 to come in.
Yeah, we get it for a nice cheap price. I mean, anything that has Tommy DeVito on the team means we failed tremendously.
Why is he still on the team?
Because we don't have a quarterback.
Right. I know, but we could get rid of him, use that spot for something else, like a water cooler. Why is he on
Can
the
we look at the hypocrisy of this shit for a second, though? I'm sorry, James.
like? Go ahead,
For
brother.
just for a second. This fucking idiot says quarterback is the most important position. I'm correct on that, right?
That is correct. Joe Shane
Hmm.
brought that
And
up in the video. Joe Shane
and I'm assuming he wants people to think he's always had this mindset. It wasn't just a 2025 epiphany. If you believe that, how did you allow our quarterback room to look like this? How did you sit down and go over the schematics of your team and say, you know what? I think if we go in here with Locke, Jones, and DeVito, we're set up pretty good for the future if this Daniel Jones thing doesn't work out. He took no contingency plan. All right, I'm off my soapbox. This guy's a fucking idiot.
Here's my thing. You have Tommy DeVito and $22 million in dead cap space for Daniel Jones in your quarterback room. That's your quarterback room. And then Aaron, I mean, is anyone here enthralled with Aaron Rodgers coming to New York or staying in New York?
No.
I think he's a diva. I think Aaron Rodgers has really become a diva, and it's about the aura of Aaron Rodgers, and you should be bowing down to him because, he's got a Hall of Fame career. I get it. He's got the right to be a bit arrogant, but I don't think he reads the room well. I just don't think he reads the room well. I mean, if we got him, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, it sucked. It's much better move than trading for fucking Matt Stafford while paying him crazy dollars. It's not a dumb move like that, but it's a move that makes sense on paper. That's what I'll say. That move makes sense on paper. You get a Hall of Fame veteran to come in, teach your young rookie, and get what you get. But I think if you get Cam Ward and you have Aaron Rodgers, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to have to mentor Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward is going to study Aaron Rodgers. That's the type of player I think Cam Ward is.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. And I would rather have that because I always thought that the mentoring thing, and some people will tell you this, is highly overrated because of the fact that what if you run into the Ryan Tannehill situation?
No.
They take Malik Willis with the 3rd round pick, and they say, "Are you going to be mentoring Malik Willis?" No. We're in competition. Then the next year they take Will Levis. Are you going to mentor Will Levis? Well, yeah, Will Levis is my guy. You don't know what you're going to get. So maybe to your point, maybe it's better to study Aaron Rodgers because there was a guy wearing number 8 that had the opportunity to be mentored by some soon to be Hall of Fame, hopefully legend, was the New York Giants. And we saw how that mentorship went.
Well, you have to actually have some talent to get mentored. I can't mentor stupid. If you're dumb or you have no talent, it doesn't matter how much I mentor you, or you can't run straight. The mentoring ship is only going to go so far. But I do like what T. Brad said. I'm down with Aaron Rodgers as long as we get Sanders Award. I don't, like Aaron, he can come here and do his yoga because it'll only be a certain amount of time before neighbors is like, yo, man, I don't care about all that crap you did in Egypt, bro. You need to hit the pass. I was open.
Here's my question though. Free agencies before the draft.
I like that.
Yes.
So so you can't predict the draft because the draft, you have to go through free agency first. So if you're Joe Shane, how are you building your team through free agency unless he goes out and gets the 1st overall pick? Unless he makes that trade with the Titans. I mean, how can he literally set himself up in free agency not knowing what he's going to have in April 25th?
Well, the Rams saved us. Just let me take this first. The Rams saved us. Like whoever said, you said, and whoever made that comment, very smart comment. The Rams saved us because I got to be honest, and I've said this to y'all on the phone, but all the Stafford talk was getting a little cringy because I'm like, you guys want to go out here and pay $50 million to a quarterback who's almost my age, who's never played outside, who's coming off having more injuries than he's had his whole career, and you think that's going to be the answer on a team that's not fully developed? I never understood that. So the Rams saved us. You
Hey
know,
James,
and yo,
you know who the people are who say that, who think that Stafford idea is a good idea to bring him in as a bridge and pay him 50 million? These are the same people who said we got to watch the salary cap. That's why we got rid of Barkley. Those are the same exact people. I
oh, I
promise.
know the
I
hypocrisy of this
promise.
fan base and this organization is mind-boggling. Like I
Except
find it hilarious. I made a joke with Tim and T-Brad that I find it hilarious that Tim gave up his season tickets and a week later Mara selling 10% of the team. So it must have been some other Tims out there that were giving up their season tickets. And Mara's like, well, I got to recoup this money. I got to recoup this revenue. Let's sell 10%.
and he's gonna get 700 million.
Yeah. Hey Tim, to your question about free agency, I personally believe we have to make sure we don't overspend for everybody. We're going to have to overspend for some person. Obviously, if you
Yeah.
got a top tier talent already proven in their prime, you have to overspend because we're the Giants. Who wants to come here? Who wants to sign up based on the saga that's been the Giants? Who wants to say, "Yeah, I'd love to play there"? Nobody.
No one.
So you got to overpay for that, and then we have to be able to find those diamond in the roughs, those guys who just like a Zach Bond type of guy who just this is no one really sees much out of him, but you get him in there and he over delivers. So that would be, regardless of position, I think that's got to be our dream scenario. I really don't have like the people to get because it's fishy. Nobody at the top of their position is coming to the Giants.
And I
You know,
want
we used to have a GM that would pick guys that would be like, oh, I don't really know too much about him, and then it turns out, oh, that guy was really good for us. Like Hakeem Nicks coming out of North Carolina. I didn't know a whole lot about him. I didn't. He wasn't like coveted like Larry Fitzgerald. Turned out to be a really good pick for us. JPP, raw talent coming out of Southern Florida. Oh my God, that guy turned out to be one of the best defensive line players we've had in decades. So it's like, even getting Victor Cruz off like we used to make moves and pick up guys where it was like, oh wow, this guy's pretty good. Like who would have thought he'd
Mhm.
turn out to be this good? At least for us, I don't care what he did once he left. But here, like we used to do that. We used to do that.
Antonio
Yeah,
Pierce
yeah.
Antonio Pierce,
had a
big
couple
head.
8 good games in Washington, and then we signed him for the big contract the next year. I want to add just one thing to free agency and the salary cap. And I know I'm preaching to the choir that the people that are listening here on all the different mediums, but the salary cap did go up 20 plus million, 100%. But everyone in the entire league, all the players, all the agents also know that the salary cap went up 20 plus million. So that means that James doing with the hands, salaries are now going to go up and be part of that 20 plus million. So a guy that you may have gotten for 10 million, before the salary cap, you may have to pay 12 now because that's what the market's going to dictate because of the rise in the salary cap. So people keep saying, and I keep hearing, we got 60 million. We're going to have almost 70. You don't have a quarterback. The quarterback eats up anywhere between 14 to 18% of your salary cap. You don't have one on the roster. You are going to give $90 million to Matthew Stafford, which probably meant you would have had a cap hit of 30 this year and 50 next, because there probably would have been money associated in reference to, if they were smart and they did a Howie Roseman, associated with the bonuses and everything else and upfront cash. So you probably would have had him on the books for 30, then probably 50 the following season. So that would take away, basic math, thanks to Sumerians, that would take away from your 60. If you have 60 million and you have a quarterback for 30, you are now left with 30 in an overinflated market that knows the salary cap went up 20%.
See how expensive Aaron Rodgers just got?
Exactly.
You see
Everyone.
how expensive Aaron Rodgers just got? Just with that alone. And I'm fine. I'm fine getting Jameis Winston. I'm fine with getting Jameis Winston because it's a financial decision at that point.
Is Jameis Winston any better than Tommy DeVito at this point in his career?
Yes.
What's going to happen and we said that we talked about this. What's going to happen? What about Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau? have that first game where they both disappear at the same time, which happened week 1. What's going to happen when Jameis Winston puts up his typical 3 touchdown, 6 interception game?
We'll have Abdul Carter because the quarterbacks have been taken before us. I believe both quarterbacks are going before us. That's what I believe. I'm sorry. Whether Tennessee trades it to the Jets, to the Raiders, and Cleveland just takes the quarterback, I don't believe we'll get to a quarterback. So I understand the need to trade up for number 1. I don't want to do it, but I think the only way we get a quarterback is if we trade up to go number 1. Way to go, Colts.
And I've said this before, OG Doc. We take our 4th round pick, we send it to the Eagles, and we ask them to draft our 1st and 2nd round pick. I've mentioned that a couple times because I think this is the only way that we are gonna find any players, because I'm gonna put up the list, and outside of one guy, that's the second or the first Jalen since 2020, they have destroyed the first 2 rounds. These guys are all starters and contributors outside of the first Jalen. I mean, so if we are able to do that, I would be very happy if we could. Who says this show's not professional? I would be.
I think it is, Tim. When you look at all those great draft picks, the Eagles are always better than us. So that means they're picking after us and still outpicking us. and still humiliating us with it. And this is the thing. People talk about Philadelphia. Oh, I hate the Eagles.
I do. These are people that are potentially talking about the Eagles being a dynasty. They've gone to 3 Super Bowls in 7 years and won 2. Aren't we kind of already on that path?
Yep.
I mean,
but I think this is the beginning of it. I think the Eagles are going to go on a 3-year run of at least making the NFC Championship, barring major injury, because they're the place that people want to go. They have a lot of talent, and they have a great salary cap. How they do it all, maybe the Giants should have been figuring that out from them, because they had no problem playing Barkley what he was worth.
I was thinking about that with the salary cap thing. The Giants should raid the Philadelphia Eagles, maybe someone in their front office, and bring him to New York.
You mean like Brandon Brown?
Oh my God, that's right. I forgot we already had him.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
And maybe
Brandon Brown needs to be elevated.
I mean, is that
we have the guy right here? He's just standing behind the cardboard box that it just seems to keep getting in his way.
He's just not allowed to talk. I love this one from Charles Barkley. Victor Cruz went undrafted, and that GM never got a job once he left.
And that's wild too, because Reese did a good job. The last 2 drafts probably sucked, but Reese did a good job.
Compared to other GMs who've gotten jobs, you already know what that's about. I hate to say it, because there's no reason why Jerry Reese you look at Jerry Reese's first 4 drafts. You guys go Google it. I've already done this. T-Rad has done this. My brother Tim doesn't have to do it. You guys go look at Jerry Reese drafts. Yes, towards the tail end, he started losing it a little bit, other than the Odell Beckham. But look at some of the players that guy brought in. 1st round, 2nd round. You tell me who has a better eye for talent as far as GMs we've had.
But
come on,
the Giants can't be racist too. They Giants have never had a black quarterback. I was like, they had a black GM.
But the quarterback, you see the quarterback more than the GM, though. We got to admit that, brother. The GM, he's up in the booth. You don't see his face on commercials. The quarterback is the one that you see the face of. That's the only thing I make to that.
I'll put it to you like this. I bet you if you took the amount of teams that have black starting quarterbacks and the amount of teams that had black GMs, I bet you there'll be more starting quarterbacks than GMs. GM is a position of power. Quarterback is still an employee.
There's only one GM.
Yeah, exactly.
You literally could have 3 African American quarterbacks on your roster.
Yeah,
but again, the quarterback is the face.
More of an opportunity.
No, it is the face, but
it's the face.
What I'm saying is, if you're a racist, you're not going to put somebody in a more superior position to affect your franchise. You see what I'm saying?
But if you're a racist, are you going to? But if you're prejudiced, let's not say straight racist. If you're a little prejudiced, are you going to put somebody as the face of your organization that people have to look at every day and associate with your organization? That's what I'm talking about.
Long as we're winning.
Well, black quarterbacks seem to be winning. We still
Yeah,
haven't taken one of those.
as long as we're winning. I just want a good one, man. And if they could be black too, that's awesome. But
Well,
I'll take anybody.
let me ask you this, because you've been against trading up. You've been against this for months.
Yeah.
If we trade up and we could get Cam Ward and we're not going to get bamboozled totally, shouldn't we do that move?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I figured you
I'm
would
not.
say.
I'm not like, oh my God, what a stupid idea. I'm not
Right.
there with it. I'm just like, can we get risky and hope he falls to us? If he falls to us, how good would that be? And then you got all the way up to what's it, a half an hour for the first pick? You already
Yeah.
got all the way up to a half an hour before the draft for them to draw this out and get better deals. And you can get fleeced from 1 to 3. But the only thing is, 3 still puts them in a position to get probably who their number 1 or number 2 player was there. Imagine if they have Sanders, their number 1, trade back and still get Sanders. They're like, shit, we killed it.
But Ernie, of course, he said, going back to his days as the Colt general manager, when your quarterback is there, he whiffed on John Elway, and he said he was not going to make that mistake with Eli Manning, and he went up and got his guy. He did. He threw. He took the shit for it because Sean liked out Merriman, went over to LA with the pick. Then it's not LA, San Diego, the pick that next year. But then, of course, you get 2 Super Bowls out of it. I mean, if it's a Trubisky
trade,
if it's a Trubisky thing, and you're swapping first and doing a 3 and a 5, I probably do it. If I'm going for Cam Ward, I probably if I'm the Giants and I take a bridge, that bridge could be my bridge for 3 years.
True.
Or I might have to find another bridge the next year, and then I find another bridge the next year, because I don't know where I'm. Again, you are in striking distance of potentially getting a franchise-altering quarterback that we haven't seen since 2004 with Eli Manning, 79 with Phil Simms. You have that chance to get that guy in Cam Ward if you feel that's the guy.
2018, Daniel Jones.
But we didn't trade up number 6. We stayed at number 6. We didn't trade up to get Daniel Jones. We were stupid all along.
We weren't that stupid yet. We
We were morons. We were morons from Jump Street there. We were okay. We just didn't care. But like I said, if you feel that Cam Ward is your guy, and this is what worries me about Joe Shane, I don't think he has any huevos. I don't think he has any cojones. I don't think he has any balls. I don't think he's going to make that trade, because it's going to make him look bad if Cam Ward doesn't start right away. And I think he is so worried of being fired before Thanksgiving that he almost went the Matthew Stafford route. And that's why I'm thinking maybe he is going to go the Aaron Rodgers route and then take somebody like Abdul Carter, because, we need another defensive end that really can't play the run well. We need to bring in who has one move, which is that little dip, and he still has a short shoulder, and now he's got the foot injury, which isn't a foot injury, but you never know, because stress fractures, you shouldn't even worry about them whatsoever. But I think that's the Giant way.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's a very scary thing you just pointed out. That's why I didn't want to get Stafford, because I would feel like if Shane would have pulled that off, it would have been his Brian Burns move, and he wouldn't even be thinking about trying to draft a quarterback. He would just be like, well, I got Stafford. Team is straight now.
Don't forget the like button right there. Mike Glenn also wants to know that Jimmy Garoppolo was Stafford's backup. I forgot about that. He was the backup. Imagine if Philly hits on Justin Jefferson. I'm still worried about Philadelphia getting Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
That's what I'm concerned right now, because what's his name? Brandon Graham is retiring. You're going to need someone on that line. Outside of the big defensive tackles they have. If you get a premier pass rusher on that team with that secondary.
Yep.
I mean,
It's crazy.
That defense
Every
will be better than the Reggie White defense.
Yeah.
It has the
yeah,
ability to be another legendary
Look,
Philadelphia
you
Eagles
had Jerome
defense.
Brown, you had Clyde Simmons, you had Seth Joyner, Wes
Ooh.
Hopkins. I mean, you had what's
Eric Allen.
I mean, you had all these guys on that team defensively on that, but on that Buddy Ryan defense that you had the Bounty Bowl. You had
the Bounty Bowl.
You had a crushing defense playing on that Veteran Stadium turf, and I played on that Veteran Stadium turf in a high school game. That shit's like playing like in the Meadowlands was like playing on concrete, and they just drove people into the ground. But you're right. I think they can have a similar defense for the next 4 years, 5 years, if they, just now without Myles Garrett. But that Myles Garrett would be a Philadelphia move.
And that seems even more of a possibility since Washington just did a trade for Debo. So I don't know how much more assets they want to put out there to get Garrett. They got Washington got Debo from 49ers.
Got Debo Samuels for I think for a fifth.
Oh wow!
Yeah, for like nothing. Isn't that amazing? Every GM in our division is better than ours by leaps and bounds.
What did they trade for him?
5th rounder.
Well, Debo Samuels wants a lot of money, so we couldn't afford him anyway. And Tim going over the lovely stats one day, I was like, yeah, I'm fine missing on him. But again, a 5th rounder.
Yeah, but if Debo Samuels for a 5th rounder, I mean,
yes.
When you actually have a quarterback, you could think about making moves like that.
I'm very scared of what Washington be. Remember, they were in the NFC Championship. I'm very scared of how they use him in Washington because he runs the ball. Oh man, that's a good move for Washington.
Remember when we used to say that about our team?
Yo, we get worse and we don't even have to do anything, and we get worse.
I was telling somebody yesterday. I said the Giants lost again yesterday, and they didn't even make a move. I was like, how do they lose all the time without even making moves?
Think about how every team in our division, regardless of age, we were every team in our division has a somewhat still in their prime or young or not close to 40-year-old quarterback. But we're sitting here, we need a quarterback, and the 2 names you heard are guys either in their 40s or about to be 40. And we want to throw them in this division with Prescott, Hurts, and Daniels. Okay.
I got a question, guys.
Go ahead.
Are there any Dallas fans on here? Because I want to know, is this what it's like?
Is this what it's like? I know there's Eagle fans.
Is this what it's like when you had like a great history and great times as a fan, and then all of a sudden that shit's over? It doesn't look like it's getting better, but you try to convince yourself that it's probably going to be better this time, and it's not better. It gets worse. Is this what it's like, Dallas fans? Please tell me. I need to know this.
We got Big Chat in the chat saying 100% Tim Shane is operating out of fear. Big Dash, if you're on, even if you're on your phone, jump on. I just put the link in the chat. Jump on and give us your opinion on some of this thing, because that is the question. Because we have become, and T-Brad just got so upset.
T-Brad just disappeared like our winning hopes. Oh, there he goes. Now he's back.
His phone.
I'm back.
We have become that team that it's full of hope, and the problem with the hope is we have none.
No.
And every time we watch it's like the Knicks years ago with the Knicks, especially in the early 2000s with Starberry and Stevie Francis and making those stupid trades. We just got to a point where we watched everyone in the division and in the Eastern Conference get better every time, and we just continuously got worse. And we were jokingly say, the Giants are the only team that you could be in the offseason not playing any games, not even having free agency yet, but somehow we still got a loss because our division rival, who has a young quarterback, picked up another wide receiver. I mean, I can't remember the last time in New York sports that we've had a team this way.
And even to T-Brad's point, even like after Dallas's heyday in the 90s, the Dallas still drafted one of the best offensive lines they had, for the last few years. They drafted Ezekiel Elliott, who was the best running back in the league for a number of years behind that offensive line. They had Tony Romo, but then they actually drafted a quarterback, Joe Shane, who in Prescott, who could step in with the offensive line and the running back and the system they had, and he actually went out there and he could win games. So even in their down years, they still were going out there winning 9-10 games, winning the division, going to the playoffs. And it's like only one team wins the Super Bowl, as Patrick Mahomes found out. Only one team wins the Super Bowl. So, no, Dallas hasn't won the Super Bowl, but they've been competitive. They've actually had good in the last 10, 15 years. They've drafted good players. You know, our drafts in the last 7, 8 years have been abysmal. Tim talks about hope. It's like you can give your fan base hope in Dallas where it's like, hey, Tony Romo's aging, but we got this young kid Prescott. Hey, we just drafted CeeDee Lamb. Hey, we got Ezekiel Elliott. You know, we can at least go out and compete. We can't even compete. We're not even competition. We are a joke. Saquon Barkley had the chance to break the record on us, and the team said no because they actually had real bigger aspirations to winning a chip, which they did. They weren't thinking about cares about rubbing it in the Giants' face. We're not even worth rubbing it in our face on. That's how low we are on the totem pole in this division. Forget the league, just the division. You got to get off your block before you could talk about running the neighborhood. And we can't even get off our block.
I want to answer this question real quick about Quinn here. So, Tim, how did Quinn do at the combine? He's seemingly fallen off the face of the earth. Listen, if the earth was flat, Quinn right now is hanging on by one fingernail. He's hanging on because the way he played, his combine performance, you know what I was thinking? He should have had Archie Manning come in and give his combine performance. I had high expectations for Quinn, but I didn't. Like I said, to like what James and I were talking about, this isn't like your pro day where it's all choreographed. You actually have to. You're told you watch them do it. You're told moments before. Okay, this is the route we're running. They're setting up the cones, and I take more stock into the throwing motion and the accuracy doing that than I do having a quarterback for a month choreograph his entire pro day. And Quinn just didn't look accurate on the outside passes. He didn't look. You went to that intermediate pass. He had some issues with that. And honestly, like I said, the deep balls that I saw yesterday, I wasn't really overly impressed with anybody outside of maybe Riley Leonard. Not knowing that Riley Leonard had that type of arm, I always thought Riley Leonard was a rag arm. But like I said, he didn't really throw, to James's point, he didn't throw deep at Duke or in Notre Dame. So more it was how they facilitated the football down the field in college than it did his actual strength itself. But Quinn did not do himself any favors at the combine today. Right,
no. Yeah. So Daniel Jones
Do we even remember Daniel Jones throwing at the combine?
I remember him running without the shirt on, going, "Dear Lord, put a shirt on."
Does anybody? Because I can't remember that for the life of me. I can't remember one moment of Daniel Jones at the combine. Oh, probably because I wasn't thinking about him, thinking we're not drafting this guy, so I probably wouldn't pay him any mind. But can anybody? Yeah, I think you did.
I predicted I was like, we're gonna pick Daniel Jones.
You did.
I said we're gonna pick Daniel Jones. I know what I want, but we're gonna take Daniel Jones.
And I forgot, who do we take?
Daniel Jones. Sometimes it sucks to be right.
I will never forget. Like I said, that day listening to the radio and hearing there's a surprise team in the top 10 that's in love with Daniel Jones. We've talked about it a million times before. I'm in the car going, please don't beat the Giants. Please don't beat the Giants. And then they go, and we're going to talk about it after this commercial break. I'm like, motherfucker, I got to be outside the car. You want my everlasting memory, Daniel Jones, at his pro day? You want my everlasting memory that I will never forget? It's seared into my brain.
Oh my God, I don't even remember that. What is he doing? He looks like like a sci-fi character.
He's running the 40 at his pro day.
Oh my God, look at him. That was our quarterback for 6 years, guys. That's the guy that half of you goofs were defending in here. Not really this channel, but in our fan base. Oh my God. Look at the camera guy in the back is like, what the hell is that? Do I have to videotape this?
The camera guy, the guy goes, put a fucking shirt on.
Oh my God, you're an athlete, man.
Hey, you say whatever you want about Daniel Jones, but you won't say he's broke. That motherfucker fleeced the Giants, and more power to him. Congratulations. I mean, you may suck as a quarterback, but congratulations on financially securing yourself some money on the stupidity of the Giants. Congratulations.
Mr. Taz says, it'll get better. Y'all trust the process. Okay, listen, Philadelphia.
Yes, hey, listen, look.
Trust the process. I don't know if you want to use that term right now.
Jameel Ogleford, Norns Noel,
Fultz.
Process is over.
Marcus Fultz. I mean, should we go on about the process? Joel Embiid is the only one left from the process.
And
Do you know Joel Embiid
healthy enough to tie his shoes?
Do you know Joel Embiid is approaching the point where he's about to have missed more games than he's played in his career, in like another 7-8 games? That's insane.
Well, he's done for the year. I think they put him out for the year.
Oh yeah, they did. They did.
That's smart. They're trying to get Cooper Flag. That's smart.
OG says, Big Pat cussed me out on his whack pod 2 years ago about Daniel Jones. Well, what else is new?
Big Pat is lost in the forest, and
yeah,
that's
OG,
all, yeah.
You probably said Daniel Jones sucks and was pointing out how he sucks, and you needed to fan on.
I love this. Bad Dog and Chris were campaigning for Daniel Jones for 4 years. It wasn't until the last year they gave up on him. I kept trashing Daniel Jones, and they stopped reading my comments.
Well, OG, you didn't send him a super chat.
Yeah, you got to send.
That's the only way you get Bad Dog and Chris to read your comments.
Oh shit, that's right. I'm not reading any more comments till I get a super chat.
Just saying, they take that capitalistic mindset to the fullest. I give them that.
Let's see here. Mr. Taz also says, with the third pick, the Vikings select an ex-player. The Vikings received the third pick in a trade in the Giants for Daniel Jones. No, he's a whatchamacallit. Daniel Jones is a free agent. Where do you think Daniel Jones ends up?
Cleveland.
Really? Or are you just saying that because you want him to go to the place where quarterbacks go to die?
Well, no. I think he's got something to prove. I mean, he's a man. He plays competitive. He's got something to prove. And where else is there? Because there's talent in Cleveland. Where else could he go where there's talent? And they may want him to come in there and he get an opportunity to play.
UFL.
You know what I'm saying? Huh?
UFL.
Yeah, but he go to Cleveland, he get a chance to play.
Well, like, man, it starts up in March. Used to be the USFL. Now it's the UFL.
Yeah. I didn't know if they still had it, but yeah, Cleveland will probably be a good spot for him to land. Some people were talking about Pittsburgh was interested in him. I'm like,
no,
Justin
Tomlin is not taking. No.
I said, Tomlin's not going in that direction. I'm
No.
looking at a place where he can, because Tennessee, they don't have the wide receivers. You know what I mean?
Tennessee has a tight end. That's about it.
Yeah, Tennessee really has nothing to offer. And I don't think Daniel Jones will put himself in a situation where it's like, Jesus, I got to try to do it all. And I suck. It's really gonna be bad.
I got to actually carry the team?
Yeah, and I suck. So he's like, I tried that one. So I think he'll go to Cleveland. We've got a decent amount of talent across the board with Judy and some of the other people there. I think that's a nice landing spot for him. Where if he wants to play.
James, where do you think Daniel Jones goes?
I think he's going to go to the Chargers, and we're never going to hear from him again. He's going to back up the duck, and he's just going to be there just in case. We're never going to hear from this guy again. I think the embarrassment of people talk Mel Kiper should be suspended from doing the draft for at least 3 years for all his Daniel Jones hype. Probably one of the worst hyped picks I've seen since I don't even know who, but maybe Ryan Leaf, to go back that far, or even maybe a Jamarcus Russell, but at least Jamarcus Russell could throw the ball deep. At least he had arm talent. I could say that. But I just think he's going to go somewhere. I mean, God, he was on a practice squad. He was on a team's practice squad for most of the year. He couldn't get off the practice squad ahead of Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins? I can't. I can't do this thing anymore in life where I lie to myself or I lie to people I care about. I love T Brad. I love Tim. Love you guys out there. And this guy sitting in my grandfather's rocking chair. That's a perfect depiction of him. Because like T Brad said, he's rich. That guy's rich.
Yeah.
His family, his grandkids, his whole lineage. And he's gonna sit, he's gonna sit around in that rocking chair one day, 40 years from now, and he's gonna be with his kids, grandkids, and they're gonna be like, Pop, you played football? He'll be like, yes, I did. I won a playoff game for the New York Football Giants. You want to see it? Here we go. And he can actually show highlights. He can actually do that. You know that guy Saquon Barkley? They kept me over him because I was that good, kids. He can say that. And that's a fact. That guy is going to go to a team and disappear. It would be like Mitchell Trubisky backing up White Vic. You're never going to hear from him again. Gone into the abyss. Ooh.
We have more votes for him to go to the XFL, the UFL. I would go on at it every day with Big Pat about Daniel Jones. Would have thought Daniel Jones had him on the payroll the way he would defend him. Bad Dog is a real flip flopper. Always goes with the popularity. Mr. Taz also comes with the third pick. New York Giants select. Yeah, we're gonna take a punter. we are going to take a punter.
I don't know, man. If Reno Hightower is there with the white shoes, we got to take him.
But might have to take him.
But he's a van specialist.
Yeah.
He's not going to bring he's not going to bring Taff out of lethargy.
With the white shoes, he can do anything.
With the white
young,
shoes.
you have no idea what we're talking about. If you're young, you have no idea.
That's the best part of the movie when they go, "Oh, Nelly,
He's
He's got in the white shoes."
And I love it.
And the crowd goes wild.
Oh man.
Good 80s bad movie. Football movie for those that don't know. Best of Times, Robin Williams, Kurt Russell. Reno Hightower, best fictional quarterback outside of Willie Beeman.
Yes.
And I love it because there was a line in the movie where he talks about, how people. This is what worries me about Giant fans. He's basically pontificating about how as something gets further away, it gets more distorted. And he goes they're all like the 4 touchdown passes he threw against Wingate, and he's like, hell, I only threw 3. He goes, but then he goes, but as it goes further along, I get better with age.
Yeah.
Reunion. And the guy and all the guys like, remember those 5 touchdowns you threw against?
They kept going up.
That's gonna be Daniel Jones one day. Remember when you beat Minnesota by 60?
Dude, that's how they were glorifying that for years. Like when I was, he got his contract. I was like, Daniel Jones sucks. We need to hitch our wagon to Barkley. Dude, he fucking held the Giants over. You see that playoff game? He won a playoff game. He's better than Justin Herbert. I was like, no, he's not. Are you watching football? Or are you telling me accomplishments? It's the dude's. He had one good game, but I was like, maybe that's your ceiling. We've been losing so bad. Maybe that's your ceiling. Like you start out the beginning of the night, you're looking at the most fine women, and you're trying to holler at them, and you get shut down. You start setting your sights a little lower.
By the end of the night, you're like, I bring that bar down. Just
by the end of the night, your bar just keeps going lower. Everybody's floor is different.
I do have to admit, though, that Charles Barkley has actually brought up a fair point. Russell was a drug addict at the time when he had his own issues when he was playing. So I mean, so it's not that he had the lack of talent like Daniel Jones. He was.
I was going to say, so the guy had more talent on drugs than Daniel Jones did sober. Thanks. Thanks, Charles. That guy was high as heck, eating donuts and drugs, not watching game film, and he still had more talent than our guy for 6 years.
Tim, can we get the don't smoke crack soundbite?
To my next point. Don't smoke crack.
At this point in time, it should be smoke. But you know what? I'm in all seriousness, and someone asked me again. Tim, who would you want a quarterback? And I've, it's not that I'm trying to evade the answer, but I think I finally figured it out who I really want a quarterback. The one, the only, the legend, the rock. Are you a rocket or are you a pissant?
Are you a rocket or are you a pissant?
There's Reno right there, baby.
There's Reno Hightower, baby, right there. I am literally going to go with Reno Hightower now. Super Chat said, to be honest, every free agent suckers the Giants. Every free agent kind of does sucker the Giants.
Yeah. Going all the way back to Nate Solder.
Oh God, Nate Solder.
Oh, Nate the Great.
Oh man,
Put him up there with Kenny G.
This offensive line is fixed. Gosh.
Nate.
Wow, one of the Pittsburgh University cornerbacks died in a car accident.
Oh,
just came across. Yeah.
Who was that?
I don't know. I didn't get the name.
It was one of the freshmen because I seen that pop up too.
Yeah, 18 years old.
It says cornerback Alexander dies. Freshman Mason Alexander, 18, passed away in Fisher, Indiana. He was a passenger in a 2016 BMW driving on Florida Road in Hamilton County. Well, that's way to bring down the channel, T-Brad.
I'm sorry. I just reported what I saw. I'm sorry.
This isn't news. I love this. Asmi says, Cop Hizzle hates this channel.
I bet he does. I bet he does.
How do you know you hate a channel unless you watched it?
I went on Cop Show once. I did. Well, actually, one time. But we're just not Daniel Jones affiliate. We all know who at quarterback we want. We're just going to keep bringing up the Rocket, also known as Reno Hightower. Now I want Reno Hightower. Now you got me stuck on that in my brain.
I'm sorry.
Hey, listen, that black and white. Go ahead, T-Brad.
No, good.
I was going to say, what about Darnold?
We have ghosts. He can't come here. We have real ghosts.
What I'm saying is, we already overspend. This is the type of move that would justify Joe Shane not taking a quarterback because now we got Sam Darnold. I'm just saying. We can't leave any stupid moves off the table for us.
Could you imagine though Sam Darnold coming here? I mean, seriously, it's almost like when think about this.
They're doing Daniel Jones all over again.
Wait, you are Russell Wilson. You're Russell Wilson, and your agent calls you and says, "Hey, the Giants want to talk to you this year." Wait, they didn't want me for $1 million. They're telling me that I couldn't beat out Daniel Jones, and now you're going to have to pay me at least $10 to $15 million, if not more, to go to New York. That to me is the giant move. Get the guy you told a year ago, no, we don't want you here. Goes to the playoffs with the Steelers, gets $15 million to come back here. Sam Darnold, like I said, is I can never see him. I think he's going to call out sick if they ever play a game in MetLife. Because how would you ever want to even come here? You got thrown out for Zach Wilson, who was even worse than you. And you had one season in Minnesota, and Minnesota is still sitting there going, well, we got J.J. McCarthy and Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones sucks, and J.J. McCarthy's got a knee injury, but he might be better. They might be better than Sam Darnold.
Tim, in all fairness, in our first game of the year last year, Sam Darnold exorcised his demons. We were there. We were there. He did an exorcism called Opening Day at MetLife. Yeah. That picture is we were feeling so good. The sun was out. Look at the blue skies. Blue skies in the background.
Looking good, Billy Ray.
Looking good, Billy.
70 degrees, the blue sky.
Yo, that was a beautiful day. Look how beautiful that is. It was nice in there, T-Brad. I mean, the people were nice.
Yeah. Oh, man, that looks nice.
We looked young, and then we get haggard after watching the Giants.
Look at my grays just from after a season. They're like, look at that.
Look young. Now James looks like he's 50.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to show you what James looked like after the season. He ate a little too much. It was the last game of the season.
That's great. You look like you lost weight. Holy crap. Yo, that's hilarious.
But I don't know who this Copzilla is, but if you hate this channel, you probably hate realism.
I don't think he lives in realism.
Yeah, you probably hate realism.
Cop Pizzle, I'll just tell you real quick, T-Brack. Top Pizzle is a guy I was going to go on his channel and do a stream with, and I'm so glad I didn't, because he literally came out a little while during the season and said the quarterback, I'm not even going to say their names because we all know who they are, but he said the quarterback in Denver is way better than the quarterback in Washington. I don't know what everybody's looking at. He's way better than that kid in Washington. And I'm, holy crap. Wow. The guy who took his team to the NFC chip. Wow.
Cop is a of a dementia patients I used to see at the retirement home when my family visited my grandfather. That doesn't sound good. I listen to Cop Izzle here and there. He's okay, dude, but strange at times.
Oh wow.
That's pretty bad, man.
There's but Mr. Taz, like I said, Mr. Taz is a Philadelphia Eagle fan, and he's calling Cop a dementia patient.
Listen, if you gotta wear sunglasses
outside of this channel, I watch Big Dash the most.
Yeah, shout out to Big Dash. Big
Dash. I may not agree with him a lot, but
I told him to come on, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, I may not agree with him all the time, but I like his synopsis of a lot of things. Real good channel.
I love
it.
Is Cop wants Dart.
Well, that says it all right there.
If you want Dart, that means you'll go out here in the free agency and go get Daniel Jones again. That's what you're telling me. That's what you're telling me.
We have to go back to the
FBI Ivory and Art. Sounds like an R&B group from the 90s.
I love to ask you with the quote of the day: Ebony, Ivory, and Orange Juice.
That was a good, we were feeling good right there, man. I'm telling y'all, like, it was a beautiful day. I met my brother there. We was in the parking lot. People were out. It was nice. I was like, oh my god, mimosas.
You know why? Y'all had hope. That's another thing that makes it good. We're 0-0, man. I'm hoping all this thing of free agent comes together. I've been watching the Giants channel. They say this is Daniel Jones' year. He's looking good in practice against the second, third team. We're good. You guys had hope. That's how y'all was sipping that orange juice for hope.
Yeah.
The lady tried to park the car in that parking space for like an hour.
Oh God, yes. She tried to like run over people's stairs. Like, what is she doing? She's trying to run over that group of guys.
The picture of them in the last game. You guys picture in the last game. You guys have a fucking glass of Thunderbird.
Brad, you wanted him, you asked for him, and that's what we do on this show. It's Big D. Look, this is what people.
My man.
This is what people.
Big D.
What up, brother? No Diddy.
No Diddy, right? No Diddy. Now,
the kids keep you sharp on that.
I was driving. I was at the supermarket when I made the first comment, so that's why I asked how long. I just got back in the house.
They always say your excuses are your own.
Who?
Sorry.
Oh, I've been wrong a lot, man. I've been wrong a lot. I drank a Kool-Aid a little bit. I think I'm back straight, though. I think I'm back straight.
We're going to give you a test.
Okay.
We're going to give you a test. Jackson Dart.
Second, third rounder, probably.
Okay, well, you know what?
That's how we welcome people we love.
That was a trick question all day.
That was a trick question all day. Did you watch any of the combine?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
What during Jackson Dart's throws? What did you see that would now? Listen, I agree that second or third. Maybe because people are desperate.
Oh, for the hype. It's absolutely hype. I think
it comes out last year. I don't think he gets drafted.
UDFA?
Yeah.
Maybe. Because if Cam would have went in like the fourth last year, then yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
Based on the same scale, yeah.
Yeah, Cam Ward to me doesn't go in the first round last year. I'm glad he came back. I'm glad
he made. I was actually mad that he went back, and then it was absolutely for the best.
I mean,
I thought we could have got him. If we passed on everybody else, I thought we could get him in a little bit later. He was like the last hope. Then he went back. I was upset.
So
but it was the best for him.
What did you see yesterday that solidified your opinion on, or just any opinion on Jackson Dart? Because I didn't see a lot that I was.
For me, I think it's it's a lot of things that goes into it. I think that they're looking for the great white hype. I'll say that when it comes to Jackson Dart. Because listen, I can't argue with the stats. Like, his stats are there, but you got to look at the kind of offense.
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
19 touchdowns in 5 games. 5 of them were against Furman, which is the number one. What's that? What's the game of the college? Is number one? What, James? Number one.
The number one private liberal arts and science college in the country.
And then he threw 10 in 7 games. And everyone talks about his completion, yards per completion was the highest in college football. Jalen Milroe was 3rd in that same category.
Don't ask me anything about Jalen Milroe.
No, but go ahead. I'm gonna give you the mic on Jackson Dart. Go ahead.
Now here's the thing though. I don't hate Jackson Dart. I think he's okay. I just don't agree with the hype. I don't agree with the hype for Jackson Dart. I think if we're gonna be honest, I think Tyler Shaw had a better throwing day yesterday than Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart, he does have an arm, but he can't layer. He can't layer to save his life.
No,
in my opinion, like, everything's a rocket for the most part. Everything looked a little flat. I know you don't know the wide receivers.
He looked almost all of his throws look flat.
Yeah, but like, I understand, like, a lot of people don't like to throw at the combine. Well, the top prospects don't like to throw at the combine because there's no relationship with the wide receivers. And sometimes, it's true. And I think that affects how you throw the ball. And I just think that he took maybe not the safe route, but I think that might just be the way that he throws the ball. When I'm looking back at some of his throws, a lot of those are on the rope. A lot of those are a little bit flat. So maybe that's just the way it is for him. But I don't know. I don't think he earned any money yesterday. I'll put it that way.
What about Jalen Milroe?
I don't like Jalen Milroe, man. And I'm an Alabama fan. I don't like Jalen Milroe. I think he should have ran the 40. But and it's kind of like the Joe Milton thing. Like, okay, everything intermediate is doesn't look good, but then you go to the deep throws and you're like, wow, look at the deep throws, kind of like Joe Milton. But I wouldn't. For me, Milroe is a project. But I will also say this: in a Dable style offense, when you want to run QB power, you got Jalen Milroe. That's what I think. RPO, Jalen Milroe.
Like I said, I think Jalen Milroe is like 3 years away to even being considered.
He should have went back.
We were talking earlier. I don't know if you were able to hear that. We were all, and I didn't ask T-Brad because he didn't get a chance to watch. We were all kind of, James and I were a little bit impressed with Riley Leonard in reference to his arm strength. We all kind of thought, because the way he threw at Duke and the way he threw at Notre Dame, that he didn't. I thought he was a rag arm. I thought he was a guy that was gonna, he was maybe a little bit above Chad Pennington, but maybe a little bit worse.
Yeah.
But I was pleasantly surprised. He had a lot of velocity on his deep passes. He had some, he had a little oomph and a little touch on his outs.
That's what I was going to get to. Those. That's what impressed me. The outs.
Yeah.
He was able to get the ball there. Yeah.
To your point about someone making money, I think outside of Tyler Shuck and maybe Brady Cook, I think Riley Leonard stepped up to a point that I didn't think he was going to step up at all.
Now he threw the ball well. I'll say he threw the ball well. A guy that I like in the later round, I like Kyle McCord, and I hated him at Ohio State.
See, well, that's why Kyle McCord's number 1 on my list right here. Because, like I said, I've been trying to dislike Kyle McCord now for like 4 months, and every time I watch him play, I'm like, motherfucker.
And it's Syracuse too, so you can't blame. You can't say, "Oh, it's the wide receivers." Is this? Nah, he can play. At Ohio State, I was calling him a Honda Accord. Just I had a bunch of nicknames for him, and then I like Syracuse. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna shut up, and then I'm gonna watch, and then he just kept getting better. Well, so but I don't know.
Miami game, I think was the cherry on top.
Yeah, he went blow for blow, absolutely.
And like I said, and you're talking a guy that's going to go arguably first overall. He took it out. We had a great question, and I want to ask you this question. It was, what is your dream scenario for the New York Giants draft? Because my dream scenario was that Tennessee sticks with Will Levis, goes Travis Hunter. Myles Garrett goes from Cleveland to Philly. Cleveland takes Abdul Carter, and then we have a choice of quarterbacks.
I would love for that to happen, right? I would love for that to happen. That would be a perfect scenario for me too to get your pick of the litter. I'll say this about Joe Shane though before I answer the question.
Oh God,
I think Joe Shane actually might want one of those guys off the board, so he takes other than that way. He says, if it works out or if it doesn't, I just took the best guy instead of it being like a New England situation, but the Chicago Bears situation where we're going to take Caleb Williams. Meanwhile, Jaden Daniels is looking like the best quarterback in the draft. So I'll say that for me, I like Sanders more than I like Cam Ward, but it's 1A, 1B. I like the improvisation of Cam Ward. I like him being able to throw at different arm angles. But when it comes to pre-snap, post-snap, I love Shedeur Sanders more. He doesn't have the same arm, but guess what? We're used to a quick game, but he's more precise at it. But that would be a perfect scenario, having to pick of the litter. What did you guys answer? Who do you guys like in this room?
Give me Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward has more of a rocket arm. I think Shedeur Sanders is more accurate, but I also think Cam Ward has more upside than Shedeur. So give me, and plus, no disrespect to either one, but Shedeur Sanders is more of a rich kid. He's a spoiled rich kid, and I think, in my personal opinion, I think people who kind of have to earn it a little bit harder, they have to go a little bit stronger to go get what they want, like Cam Ward's story, I think they're going to be bigger fighters in the NFL. So that's my pick.
I got just a little bit of pushback because I think the way Deion Sanders raised these kids is a little bit different. Now they were rich. They weren't needing for anything. I do believe Cam Ward's chip on his shoulder, because he definitely has a chip on his shoulder, is a little bit different because he comes from being doubted. Like Shedeur, I don't think Shedeur was ever really, I can't even say that because he was doubted. He was hated too. I don't know if there's a more hated prospect out there, but being Deion's kid opened some doors for you. We'll say that much. And then you have to earn the rest after that, because we can say that about Michael Jordan's son, and we see what Michael Jordan's son is doing. It don't matter that Michael Jordan is his dad. So for me, but I do like Cam Ward. I do like his background. He does have something to prove. A zero-star recruit, only got one a scholarship offer, and look what he did with that. So I think it's different, but I think also that Shedeur, he sees it now more than ever. It's a lot of hate out there, and I think that's a little extra motivation. Cam Ward hasn't seen that type of hate yet, and for me, especially in New York City, I want to shut a lot of these new Giants fans up. For me, I've been arguing for months now. I've been called all different kinds of names because I like Shedeur Sanders, but I'm not dogging him though. I just like what I like, man. I like what I like when it comes to Shedeur.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. You trying to get them conservative Giants fans. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
The ones that say that pretty much said Deion was out there throwing the ball for Shedeur. Those people.
Yeah.
Deion,
let's wait and get Archie Manning. That's stupid. Not if you got a quarterback right here. What you waiting for?
They want to wait another 2 years for Archie Manning too, because a lot of people think he's going to come out in 2026. He's not coming out in 2026.
He's not. They don't understand that, Big Dash. You did a video on that, much like Tim talks about it. T. Brad talks about it when he was on here. A lot of fans, they don't understand that. They really think Archie Manning's going to play 1 year and then come out the year after next. Well, and then we'll be there to pick him up.
Even Cooper. So I mean, but James, who's your guy? Is it Cam?
My guy. Well, my guy personally, I like Sanders because we need a guy to come in here with some moxie and some swag and some talent, and some guy that's going to come in here and be like, yeah, you don't like me, I don't give a damn. Yeah. And I think to T. Brad's point, Cam Ward will do the same thing. I just think Sanders will do it more louder up front. Cam Ward will be like, he's going to do it the Tom Brady way. Like, I'm going to show you, I'm going to shut these dudes up. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to bust it. But I think Sanders is going to come right in, band playing, big sign, I'm here, get that Daniel Jones crap out of here. This is a new era. And I think we need that. We need that more than anything. We need a quarterback that's going to come in here, put his feet up and say, all right, Dabo, what we got today? And we need some energy. We need real hope, not false hope, like Tim's been talking about. So I do love Cam Ward. I love the kid or the guy that everybody doubts. He's going to carry that chip on him. Both of them have said similar quotes as far as, hey, go ahead and pass on me, see what happens. Both of them have said that. So I do like both of them, but I do think we need a guy coming off of milk toast and Daniel Jones. We need a guy to come in here with a little bit of salsa.
You want to put a little cinnamon.
We got Danny DeVito.
Stop that.
You know, everyone has a valid point. To T. Brad's point, Sanders is from privilege, but I also like the fact that he is from an NFL lineage. He's been in NFL locker rooms since he was a kid, so he knows what goes on. It's not like it's going to be, and I've been in NFL locker rooms. It's not like you're going to be shocked, because there are some shocking things. Well, this was back in 2000. There are some shocking things that go on in NFL locker rooms. I don't think Sanders is going to be fazed by any of that, by the reporters, anything else. But if you look at pure talent, Cam Ward, to me, like I've said it before, is a more ready quarterback. He is ready to. I think he would come in day one and take the reins of a Dable style offense and go from there. I think Shedeur has this aura about him that he can come in and rally the troops though on his end. But I think he is going to take a little bit more time in reference to reading defenses. Listen, Cam Ward had more talent in Miami than Shedeur had at Colorado. He had more wide receivers. He had more opportunities to spread the ball, spread the wealth, which I think it gave him more of an opportunity to have the ability to read defenses. We got to be honest. Shedeur had a lot of 50-50 balls to a guy on the other side of Travis Hunter that, if things aren't going well, I'm going to chuck it 60 yards to Travis and keep my fingers crossed. That's not reading defenses, but he also had the ability, to me, Shedeur, he took a beating at Colorado because they didn't really have a great offensive line. So that guy was always on his back. He always played from behind. He has that understanding that, listen, I need to play hero ball. And some people see that as a detriment. I see that as to James's point. You need someone with a little moxie. You need a little Reno Hightower. You need a little Jonathan Moxley. You need a little Willie Beeman. You need someone that can go out there and just throw the rock and say, you know what? Like Eli did early in his career. Gilbright made him a gunslinger. Probably should have been a West Coast guy. And those interceptions were because he was telling him throw it deep. But Eli has a short-term memory, and I think Shedeur has the same thing. If you're looking for someone that's going to be ready right now, I think you go Cam. If you're looking for someone that may have a little bit more talent down the road and have a higher ceiling, you go Shedeur. That's why I said I'm the same way. I'm 1A, 1B. I'm not going to be.
I got it flipped. I got it flipped because I think that Cam Ward has the higher ceiling. I think that Shedeur has the higher floor. I'll say this though, like I said, I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them.
No, not with and Tommy DeVito.
Yeah. But also I would say this because you guys touched on it a little bit, pause. But you said when it comes to Cam Ward, like I don't know why people would think Cam Ward is quiet. Like Cam Ward is not quiet at all. He got a lot of dog in him. He just approaches it a little bit differently because you can't tell him he's not the best quarterback in this draft, and you can't tell Shedeur Sanders the same thing. What I do like about Cam Ward over Shedeur though, and again 1A 1B like you, is just that you know there's something else there as far as as far as the ceiling goes. He hasn't tapped into that yet. I think with Shedeur Sanders, you kind of know what you're getting, and he can get better at what he's doing already. But Cam Ward has some type of secret sauce that we ain't seen yet. But for me, again, 1A, 1B. If I'm doing it today, I don't know if Cam Ward would ever tap into that either. I just like Shedeur Sanders. I want to do this. I want to have a watch in the crowd and doing that.
You want the sunglasses? You want the sunglasses in the crowd? I feel. And another thing on Sanders that's really dope. He had a new offensive coordinator every year. Yeah. He spoke about that. He said, I had a new offensive coordinator every year, so I could change and adapt. So, again, I got a 1A, 1B, just slight edge to Cam Ward. So, either way, I'm not arguing with anybody's decisions.
You're not good. I said, I don't think you can go wrong. And
Yeah.
I didn't know about the offense coordinator thing, because one of the things I think about with Justin Herbert had 5 different offensive coordinators 5 years in a row from his last 2 years at Oregon, and not Oregon, to Oregon, to his first 3 years in the pros. And he showed, it showed a progression, and he never complained about it. He never said anything about it. He never brought anything up about it. And everyone talks about continuity, but sometimes you also want to see if a guy can learn something different, if he could play a different way. And we got to remember the way that Shedeur came up through college. It's kind of the same as Cam. They didn't all stay in the same place. They all started their career somewhere else and finished it in an entirely different location with entirely different philosophies, and both excelled. So, I mean, like I said, I just think that, and when I'm thinking about why I think Shedeur has more of an upside is we've seen what Cam Ward could do at Washington State. Then we saw what he could do with superior talent in Miami. To me, Shedeur is, outside of Travis Hunter, really hasn't had that opportunity to showcase his skills, because he's either had limited skill position players, a bad offensive line. I think he gets a lot of flack because he's, his daddy Dion's been his coach since high school. I just think there's more of an opportunity if you put in, I don't think the Giants might be the opportunity, but you put him in an opportunity where he has talent around him, he can showcase more of his ability because he's not trying to do everything on his own. And I think like I said, at the end of the day, I'm happy either way. I mean, I'm not going spilt milk. I don't care.
Yeah. I want to say one more thing too, because one of the things that gets me upset is just the blanket statements that people make when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. Like either they say, he's a bust, he's no good, he's undraftable, and when I see stuff like that, it's disingenuous. Respectfully, it's disingenuous, because is no way, even if you're just a highlight person, even if you just watch highlights, and I wouldn't recommend somebody to just watch highlights, right? There's no way in the world that you can think this guy just sucks or is undraftable. And that's my main thing that I have, because I don't know how often you're on Twitter. I know you're on there a lot though, Tim. I
gotta argue with somebody.
I've been fighting the good fight for a while now when it comes to Shedeur Sanders, and just some of the stuff that people are saying, like even yesterday, his hat was backwards during the presser. or
I did notice that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Riley Leonard's out there throwing with his hat backward. Jackson Dart's at the podium with his hat backwards too, right? And then it's like, his speech is slurred. I'm like, what? And then also, like you said, his dad is his coach. Like,
yeah, that's a new one. I didn't catch that one. Big D, the speech slur. That's crazy.
He said, his speech is slurred. I'm like, he's from Texas at the end of the day, and his father's Deion Sanders. You ever heard Deion Sanders talk? But it's just weird to me, the amount of hate and all the. They
You know why?
Yeah.
We all know why.
Yeah.
We all know why. I get tired of hearing, we don't need that kind of drama. I was like, what kind of drama? You act like the young man getting in trouble off the field. What drama are you talking about? Oh, his dad is going to get involved. I said, like Archie Manning got involved when Eli got drafted. I mean, you a father in a position to do something for your son. Like, what parent is going to do all they can to put their child in the best situation? Like, we're upset about that? I'm not like, everything you tell me, like you say, if you could substantiate it, yes. But like you said, it's disingenuous. It's other reasons outside of football why you don't like that young man.
Oh, also the level of competition he played against. Like, we ain't seen Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson in that weak ass ACC. Pardon me, the weak ACC or Patrick Mahomes in the Big 12 when the Big 12 wasn't even Big 12. Like, come
Steve
on.
McNair,
who did Daniel Jones play against at Duke?
Yeah,
who did he play against? Oh, okay.
Listen, like, nobody beat Furman like Jackson Dart did.
Listen, he beat the heck out of those painters.
Heck out of Furman, man. If you beat
those
Furman,
painters,
in Northern Georgia, and Duke, and Arkansas. I mean, you are a world beater.
And that's why Jackson Dart keeps popping up, and that's why that overhype we were talking about in the beginning, that's where that overhype comes from. It comes from that fan base who feel that way. Like the quarterback has to look like this because Jackson Dart does not look like he busting them dope moves. He does not look like he busted dope move. He's a one-read quarterback. When you watch him play, it's look one way, throw one way. Red stripe, same thing we just had.
And it's crazy. And it's crazy because just to go on what we were saying before about when you have a franchise and a fan base that's never drafted somebody that looks like the three of us. Well, I say four too, because Tim, you're the son of a chief, so
remember
you're just really pale skinned.
You remember who they drafted? They did draft
but
quarterback.
Yes, you're gonna stop bringing up Andre Woodson. You're gonna stop bringing him up. It's that's disingenuous to even bring him up.
The punter,
you
the punter,
never did.
Andre Woodson is your complexion too.
Andre Woodson was cut off this team before game 1 of the regular season. So
it's actually my uncle. That's why I always bring him up.
But when you have an organization and a fan base, we've never drafted somebody that looks like us to be the face of the team. So of course the fan base just wants to go with what they know. It's like when you go to certain barbecues, that's certain people's functions, and they don't use barbecue sauce on the grill. They just put the chicken on the grill. You're just grilling chicken. We're not putting any seasoning on that. We need to put a little seasoning on the chicken. And some people are against that because they've never had seasoning on the chicken on the grill before.
I'd just like to say I use sazon and adobo.
That's seasoning, though.
I just like to throw that out there.
But you have people who don't use anything,
sure
and you know what I'm talking about.
It's a
when you use Larry, if you want,
you know what I'm talking about. Big Dash and Brother T, y'all know what I'm talking about. You go to them certain houses and be like, "Is he just putting the chicken on the grill? Did he put anything on there? No." And he puts it on the plate.
Fresh out the pack to the grill.
Fresh out the pack to the grill, baby. Little water, and then throw it right on it. That's good to go. That Purdue is ready to go.
Been anywhere. See, I've heard about that's something
you've never been nowhere. Well, God bless you.
No,
God bless you, T-Brad.
Like raisins in a potato salad. I hear about it, but I've never seen it.
You never seen it? Well, God bless you, brother. I've been there.
I don't believe that at all. Raisin and potato. I've heard it. I've heard people say it, but
I've never seen it.
I think that's just over exaggeration. That's the emphasis. It's no
Big Dash.
That might
Big Dash.
be disingenuous.
You see,
Big Dash. Big Dash. I was in a relationship for 4 years. I've seen raisin everywhere.
He was Irish.
With a certain I'm just saying.
We drink a lot, the Irish.
Hey, that's
that's
the
where we're putting
experience.
shit. We don't know what's
man.
I hear Ireland's pretty cool, actually. Never been. Probably will never go, but I heard it's pretty cool.
I like it. They let me come back, so that's always good.
I didn't hear because I tuned in late when I was driving. You guys talked about the whole Rodgers thing.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah. We're gonna have to overpay to get him. It's a great idea on paper, but the reality is we're gonna have to overpay to get him. And Aaron Rodgers to me is like a diva, so no thank you.
That's the problem. It's not a good idea even on paper.
Yeah.
This is the guy.
No, to have Aaron Rodgers there is a great idea on paper, but what we're going to pay him, the fine print, no.
The reality of it, right?
Yeah, that's where you lose the deal.
Right. Like having him there, like you said, so Cam Ward can watch him and his mannerisms. So maybe Shadura can watch him and pick up little things. That would be great on paper. But in the actual reality of it, how would that really look? How would that, like
Joe Flacco's a lot cheaper.
Well, to be honest, Aaron Rodgers, from what I hear, does not put any season on chicken.
He looks like he doesn't put anything on chicken.
Just want to, because I also think he doesn't eat the skin of the chicken, so because of his weird,
That's come on, skinless, seasonless chicken.
James,
what are we doing,
James? And in all fairness, this is what happens. we were at a James and I were at the Seattle game a couple years ago, and there was this gentleman in front of us that James was antagonizing, the 8-year-old, and we were talking about Daniel Jones, and we were talking about throwing the football and everything else. And at one point in time, this gentleman turns around to James, and you can guess what complexion he was because he looks at James and goes, "Well, in all fairness." And so all I heard for the rest of the day from James was, "Well, in all fairness."
Yeah, I mean, he hit me with the ambassador. well in all fairness to Daniel Jones. I was like, are you serious? You gonna hit me with that? I'm not your kid.
Well,
Turn around.
You were yelling at his kid who was wearing the jersey of Seattle.
Well,
What he's
hey,
basically saying, if I may translate, well, in all fairness means what you say is true, but let me introduce some bullshit narrative for you to listen to. That's literally, if you allow me to translate that for you, that is literally what well, in all fairness means. That's like, with all due respect, I'm about to disrespect the shit out of you.
I'm about to disrespect you.
And whether you like it or not, it's not too personal. So that's what all due respect is saying. To level the blow just a little bit.
Just
a little bit.
Amen.
James, my favorite point of that entire game was we're sitting on the 50-yard line, and we're 25 rows up, and James looks at me as we're sitting down and goes to me, "We're in the last row." And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, and he's looking at me, and he goes, "Do you notice who's the only people sitting in this row?" And I looked at James. I said, "No." He goes, he's like, "Just take a look." He goes, "We're in the last row, and who's the only people sitting here?" And I'm like, "Oh, geez, this is gonna be a long fucking night."
Who's the only
It was true though.
Who was the only people sitting with us, James?
You know who was back there. We were sitting there like on the back of the bus. That guy with his kid, they were like 5 rows ahead of us. I was like, why is that guy so much closer?
Oh, yeah, you were hurting from where you were sitting.
Hey Tim, just a backstage pass to blackness. Literally, we do that everywhere.
Oh, I know.
Everywhere we go, we want to see where the black people are sitting, where the white people are sitting, just to determine our level of comfortness.
Yes.
If we're all over the place, we're probably gonna have a great experience. But if we're over there by where the waitresses come out by the galley door and all that, and in the back, it's like, oh man, let's be on guard here.
Let's be on guard.
Let's be on guard, and we're playing as it goes along.
When you get there and they walk you all the way to the back, and they walk you past all the tables.
Oh, fly shit, yeah.
Well, I love it because I was waiting for James at the VIP security gate, and he was standing in line, and he was getting up to the line, and I'm yelling at one point in time, "He needs extra security. I think he's a terrorist." And the lady's looking around like, I thought, now I'm thinking about maybe I probably shouldn't have said that.
I'm telling you. Some people gave me some extra looks. They were like, well, I don't know. His beard is a little long. His last name might be Muhammad.
Hey, Tim, you want to feel uncomfortable? Dude, Tim, you ever flew first class?
Yeah.
Ever have anybody ask you what you're doing there?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You weren't expecting that.
Yeah, right?
No. But see, now you know our struggles sometimes.
Now here's a question.
I paid the fucking ticket. That's why I'm here.
There's a second question. Was it
what
a passenger or was it the flight attendant that asked?
Flight attendant.
Yeah.
James will tell you my attire that I wear everywhere
it's quite prestigious.
It's quite prestigious. I mean, I think the last time I wore pants was in 1994. So James will tell you all I ever wear is like a t-shirt and shorts, even though it's like 20-degree weather. And I always look like that. I couldn't afford a trip to the zoo. So and that's I always get a lot of looks. That's like I go into a car dealer sometimes. I tell and my wife always goes, well, they're not really nice to you. I'm like, no, they're not, because they don't think I can afford anything here. I said, and that's the way I like it, and that's just the way I dress. Oh, so yeah, I had a lady ask. I sat down, and I was actually in the very first row, and
right,
like the very first row, because you can just get right off and go fucking where you got to go. And I had flown there, and I knew the flight crews from Delta, and somebody new was on the flight crew because I was flying back and forth from Miami to New York all the time. And I sat down, and right when I sat down, this woman who was new to the flight crew comes to me, well, sir, I need you to stand up and come with me.
You don't belong here.
And I'm thinking to myself, I can't get a better seat because I'm in the first row. So where am I going? And we stand outside of the plane, and she's like, you have to wait till the first class passengers board. You can't just take a seat. This isn't.
She hit you with the white trash.
Wow. She said,
you can't be here.
Yeah. Hey, that the black experience a little bit. Yes.
Yo, She said, "What's this trailer trash doing here? I'll move him."
Shit.
I was
Oh my God.
Of course, this isn't boarding group A.
Oh my
Hey.
God.
Tim, that's when you say, well, what happens is I'm a first class passenger. I paid my ticket. And if you can get me a drink, that'd be awesome.
Oh no, I waited. Class got filled up and there was one seat. And then I showed her my ticket and I said, "Oh, can I have my seat now?"
Well, you better than me, Tim.
I'll say you see that's not the black experience because you should have stood up there and said, "All right, what you trying to say? I can't afford this seat because I'm in shorts."
Yeah. And Tim, that was your time to represent. You could have said, "Excuse me."
That was your time to really go deep in the bag.
Yeah.
Like,
And then you could have pulled one of these. I want to speak to your manager. I want to speak to your manager. You would have got everything you wanted. We're so sorry for the inconvenience.
See, that's just that's just me. I don't get mad.
You should have told her, like, you know what? I want her to bring me my champagne every time I lift my hand. Nobody else, just her. Yeah. Make her do her job.
I gotta get out of here, fellas. I appreciate you.
We are really late, guys. We gotta leave. I was supposed to leave an hour ago.
So, yeah, he's in trouble. Yeah,
I'm gonna be in trouble, and like I said, she's Puerto Rican, so I will get cut. So I gotta make sure I get out of here. I want to thank Big Dash for coming on. I always want to thank James. I always want to thank Steve Brad because we always have this crew on. This is New York Giants. I like Big Blue LLC. And as always, we may have a stream on Monday, we may not, and I appreciate everyone for listening and following. And you know what, guys? We're out of here. Peace.